couple days ago, my mother gave me a task. She said, Matthew, can you go see Sasa, that's what we call my grandmother, and pick up some meatballs that she made for dinner. So I was like, all right, after work, I'm going to go pick up these meatballs. So I call her before I drive over to her apartment. Nobody picks up the phone. I'm like, all right, well, I'm already on my way, so I'm going to just go anyways and, you know, buzz her at the door. And I get there, and I'm like, maybe she's in the garden, but it was kind of a shittier day out, so I was like, I don't know, but let me check. Check the garden. She's not there. I walk to the front door, and there's, in like the lobby of her apartment building, there's like some dinner party or birthday party, or there's something going on, because they've got like, you know, like a long table like this, but they've got a bunch of them set up all in a row, and there's all these old people from the building just sitting there eating food and shit. So I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. There's a party going on. Buzzed my Sasa's apartment. Still no fucking answer. So now there's a small part of me that's slightly worried of like, is she okay? Did she fall? Is she in the apartment hurt? What's going on? But then I think, well, maybe she's eating with all these old people here.
Maybe she's just old.
Maybe she's just old. So I stick my head, like, I'm just kind of looking at the window, like peering in and looking around, and I don't really see her there. And now some of the old ladies and shit are starting to like look at me through the, you know, window, whatever. And I start looking in at them, and they're looking at me, and one of them gives me this motion. So I dial again. Still no fucking answer. So now I'm looking at them, and they're looking at me, and they're like, you know, I'm like trying to signal like I pushed the button, I dial, it didn't work. So then I'm standing there thinking, okay, one of these nice old ladies is going to open the door for me. None of them fucking do, because they all sit there and they're like huddled around, and I see them just like talking to each other and looking at me and looking at each other and talking around, and immediately I know that they think I'm like a criminal of some kind.
Do we let him in?
Do we let him in? So finally, one of them gets up and she opens the door and she's like, hey, can I help you? And I was like, hey, and I, you know, used my grandmother's full name. I was like, hey, like, is there a so-and-so here? Like, I'm her grandson. I was just here to like pick something up from her, blah, 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 blah.
Psych, I'm a criminal. He pushes her through.
Exactly. And I could tell they still didn't like fully trust me, but the fact that I name dropped
full name.
The fact that I name dropped my grandmother, they were like starting to kind of blah. Well, sure enough, like it's a fucking Seinfeld episode.
You could have just found her name somewhere.
Exactly. Like it's a Seinfeld episode. My grandmother comes like sauntering up the front path to the front door. I'm like, where were you? And she's like, oh, I was getting a haircut, but like it ran long. So like, you know, I was late getting to the apartment, which is why she wasn't picking up the phone. She wasn't in the garden. She wasn't with the old people, all that shit. Well, as soon as they realize I'm with her, then all of them let their guard down. And then my grandmother's like, this is my grandson, Matthew. And they're all like, hi, Matthew. I'm like, you know, hey, blah, blah. And the whole time I'm trying to be just like nice and polite. Because even before my grandmother came, when the lady opened the door, I was just trying to like be charming and like sweet. And, like, I'm not here to fucking rob any of you. And as I'm talking to my grandmother, and she's talking to some of the old people sitting there, and we start to leave and walk away, the lady who let me in sat down, and I see her like lean over to some of the ladies that she was leaning with before, and she's like, see, I told you he didn't look that threatening. I was like, come the fuck on. I was standing there in like a baseball cap, my Superman t-shirt, and like shorts and like Crocs and socks. Like I looked like a total bum.
Grade A criminal.
I was like, what do you think I'm here to do?
I wish you were a criminal, and that story went a completely different way.
Yeah, and then I broke in and stole all the shit. Oh my god.
What would have happened if your grandma came walking down the middle, and then she goes like, "Who? I don't know who that is." and then they're like, "He's definitely a criminal.
Oh
we gotta get him out of here now."
I don't know if I'd be more worried that they think I'm a criminal or like, ah, shit, Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah.
But
so it's a lose-lose, I think.
What was I gonna say? But it was just, thank God she came at that moment, because I was about to say to them like, listen, I'm her grandson. I'm here to pick something up. And I told them she hasn't been answering her phone. She didn't answer the fucking buzzer. I was like, what I'm going to do is go up and see her apartment and make sure she didn't like fucking keel over in there. And if she's in there, you'll know it, because I'll come back out, you know, with food in hand. And if I come back right away, it means something's wrong. That was going, thankfully she came and I didn't have to try that, because I knew if I tried that, they would have been like, no. They would have been like, we're not letting you up to see her. And then it would have had to get to the point where I have to be like, all right, and start shoving an old lady.
Move it.
I said.
Just shove an old lady and, you know, get her out of the way. But anyways, so that was just a random little encounter I had out in the world. Anyways, how are all of you?
I have a little story. I was in a Zoom class today, and you join in, and certain classes, they already like disable your camera and your mic. Some leave it open. Like the one I joined today was like you joined in, and the mic's on automatically. Like your mic's on. So I see that and I mute myself. And then some other girl didn't see that and did not mute herself. And it's the course is called Teaching Biology for like grade 11 and 12 and stuff. And the prof is about to start speaking, and then before he starts, she just goes, yeah, like, are you bringing the kids down or something? And then whatever, she's like kind of like arguing with someone. And then she goes, yeah, like I just want to watch TV. Like I'm not gonna do anything here. Like she's like, what am I gonna do here in this class? Like she's like I'm not here for any reason. Like I just gotta be here, but like I don't want to be here. And then the guy goes, someone has their mic. And then and then after that, she was like, when she like volunteered for a question, she was like, oh hi, she was very respectful.
Yeah,
that's got to be a topic someday of like
Zoom,
the pandemic
sure.
overall, but that has to be a specific part of it that we get to one day is like school during COVID and what a fucking shit show that was, and like a million of those little stories of just like people having their shit on in Zoom calls or like not realizing their cameras were on.
You see that video of that one? It's like a kindergarten class or grade 1 class. And it's this like little kid. He's just by himself in front of the camera. And you see the whole panel of all the other little kids in front of the camera. And then for this one little kid, his mom or his aunt or his grandma, I don't know who, like walks through the back. She's a big lady, and she's butt naked, completely butt naked. And she's just changing behind because there's like a wardrobe behind the kid. And then the teacher's like, oh.
Yeah. Why do I feel like I can't confirm this is true, but I think I heard something about like a U.S. government official like on some official Zoom meeting, and they like join up, and then he joins in, but his camera's like on automatically, and he was like masturbating or something.
Oh, that definitely
definitely
happened.
Yeah.
There's a video. Fuck.
Why would he join mid thing?
I think he thought like it wouldn't be like the camera would be on automatically. And have
but
time
why
to,
does
like,
why does he want to join?
Hold on. You just made me,
right
you
at
made
that
me think
moment.
of something, and I was just gonna like find it later, but I'm gonna see if I can find it now.
Also,
Hold
Matty,
on.
I'm gonna
You guys fill time.
No.
Matty, have you been playing Mortal Kombat 1?
I have not. Well, technically, Mortal Kombat 1, if you like pre-ordered it or whatever, you got like the early access thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually come out for like another couple days. But I have to pre-order it because if you do pre-order it, you get Shang Tsung as like a playable guy.
That's
so
a lot of talking and not a lot of searching.
Sorry, fill time.
So what'd you do today, Malcolm?
I went to the gym at 5 of the channel.
Mm-hmm.
I went home, went to class for 8:30.
We're on national TV.
Came home. I had class at 11:30, and here I am.
Nice.
It was not too exciting or
No
fun.
way.
An
that's
eventful
real.
day.
Okay, so I found this. I'll splice this in if I can.
Bro got
So
the
it's
head
just,
on national
so this is
television.
MSNBC, and it's this
It's
this guy.
the guy on the right for sure.
Yeah, the guy on the right, he's like basically like getting a blowjob while he's doing this like MSNBC interview. And I remember seeing this. It's so fucking funny. Hold on.
He's wearing nothing below that suit.
I'm gonna play it again. Okay, here we go.
Bro, why are people so...
I deem, or not handling it, we should say, to a certain extent. This time, it
Oh, wow, he's
involves
looking
our
down.
intelligence community. Ken, what have you learned, sir? Oh, shit. Fuck. Okay. Think we lost Ken for a second. We'll try to get him back here.
Is that? I mean, it probably was that, but I feel like it could go somewhere else. No, it could just be him like looking down at notes or some shit. And he didn't know he was live. How do you know?
He looked like he was getting pleasure, though.
Why?
Like, he looked like... Play it again. Play it fucking again.
You're saying his face?
Just though he...
I was gonna say it didn't look real to me.
Not handling it, we should say, to a certain extent. This time, it involves our intelligence community.
It sounds like he knows he's live at this point, or waiting to be.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know?
I see what you're saying.
But the way he says "fuck" is like a little bit.
It's
like,
a little
breathy,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I
But I see what you're
choose-
saying now, though, because it could be like...
He's like, oh, I didn't know I was live.
Yeah,
My notes
I
are
don't
here.
know.
I choose to believe that guy was like on
I
MSNBC
hope so.
live and was like getting head
That would
off
be a
camera,
great
'cause
story.
That's hilarious.
That's a great
Mark,
story.
could you open up the group chat real quick? So
Hmm.
I was also in a Zoom meeting today,
Here we go.
and we got set out into separate break rooms, and we had to talk about what we were gonna do for a project or whatever. And I was just sitting there. I didn't realize my mic was the only one on, and our teacher, like our professor, joined for a second. She wanted to like just catch up with all the groups, see where everyone's at. Mark, can I see the group chat
Sure.
for a video? And when she joins, I don't know why it had to be this timing, but this was playing when she joined. It was very, very loud.
Can you play it the volume that she heard it at?
I was just,
That's a great video.
I couldn't stop watching that meme for the past day.
Fuck your mother.
What did she say?
She didn't say. I just quickly tried to turn it down. She didn't say anything.
Oh man.
Jesus Christ.
I like the top comment. Shit's probably funny as fuck. Like, you don't even know what it means, but it's probably funny.
Oh my God. Well, anyways,
Oh my God. All right.
we got a show to do.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. Welcome back to episode 27 of Wildly Adequate, the show about anything, everything, and usually nothing. I am 1/4 of your hosting crew.
What are you looking at right
I
now?
don't know, just
You're
off
speaking
to the
them,
side.
but you're not.
Mr. Matthew Urso, and I am joined, as always, by...
Patrick Fahim.
Oh, I noticed you looked at that one.
I did.
Not the main. Isn't it going to be over there
What
at
if
that point?
What if he wants to cut to
Oh,
me?
sure. Mark. That's that one.
Malcolm.
Let's go. There's
Sick.
going to be a cut.
Yeah, we're going to cut all over the place. Patrick, I believe you're starting us off. Take us away, Daddy-O.
All right, boys. We're gonna be discussing something that causes you guys a little bit of grief. I think.
Oh, God.
Mhm.
I think it causes you guys a little grief, and I'm gonna tell a story to sort of get us into this. So I went to see the Barbie movie, and also my hot take for today is the following: the Barbie movie was a 6 out of 10 movie, and Oppenheimer was a 6.9 out of 10 movie.
You saw both.
I saw both.
6.9.
That's my hot take for the day.
I mean, my general hot take is that
Barbenheimer was not good.
my hot take generally about movies is that Christopher Nolan's overrated. But continue.
Oh wow,
Rage-filled.
that's a separate topic.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get. I'm not gonna.
You-
I want
you're-
to address it.
I
but
understand it's a separate topic, but you're talking about movies.
Mm.
But what I'm trying to say is I want to address it, but I'm trying to stop
Sure.
myself.
Okay, go for it.
So I was at Barbie, and I was watching it with my friend Karen. Should we put that out? I don't know.
I already
haven't said anything
I feel like-
compromising
Shout out
yet.
I
Karen.
feel like I already know the kind of path you're gonna go down here.
Well, so we were
'Cause
watching.
I haven't even seen it. I've seen clips, but
we were watching the Barbie movie, and I looked to my right, multiple times throughout the movie. Like at least 70% of the movie, I'm looking to my right and seeing something I cannot believe.
Can I
which
guess?
is, yeah, you can go ahead.
Is she crying?
I know where
Can
this
I,
is going.
can I
No,
take another
you
guess?
told
me
Can
to
I
try
take a guess?
Go ahead.
There's someone in the back dark corner getting a little fun time.
What's your guess?
Well, you told me already.
Oh, okay. So not quite the back corner. They are in the middle of the damn
Oh,
theater, and they're making out
You mentioned
for 70% of the movie.
Mm.
Just making out?
Well, that's what I saw every time I looked. It'd be pretty. It would be pretty ambitious to do
In the
that
middle of the
in
theater.
middle. So what I'm trying to get at is, how do you guys feel about, I guess, displays of affection during movies?
Just movies or like generally?
I hate
Let's
it.
start with just movies.
I hate it.
I think there's a line where you shouldn't cross it. I feel like for myself, it would be anything past like if you kind of like arm over the shoulder, maybe a little kiss on the cheek, something like that. But to me, it's like as soon as it gets like super intimate, like you're making out or you're touching, like to me that's too much.
What if they were in the okay? Because I've spoken to a couple of people about this, and the following
I already
was,
know, dude.
the following was said. So one point was if it's in the corner,
It's okay.
then it's okay.
No
That's
matter
one
what.
point.
No matter what. No matter what you're doing, if it's in the corner.
In the corner, like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the guy's standing up, pants down to his ankles, and she's bent over, and it's fine. It's in the corner.
it's in the corner.
They're in the back corner. You know where like if you were sitting on like the side of the theater, but
Yeah,
you're like
yeah.
right above where like the hallway to
Oh,
get in is.
you can look down.
Ledge.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could just lean over
Her,
that.
her
Yeah.
both her titties are over.
Oh wow.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
This is so vulgar.
This is getting
Please.
pretty graphic.
You
Why
know-
are we getting this
You know,
graphic?
my assumption.
Pretty hot though.
my
Carry
assu-
on.
My assumption is that the person or people who've said that to you are the type of people that want to do that or have done that in the past, so they're trying to make themselves feel like it's okay.
Feel better? Yeah.
I
Okay.
think so.
So there's this other person I was talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Actually, we need to bleep that out.
Okay.
They requested a name.
She
bleep.
she
I'm sorry.
she
Well,
DM'd you.
talking
She DM'd
to
me, by the
or-
way.
She did DM you.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to tell them what they DM'd you?
Yeah, I mean, she just wanted to hang out or whatever, but I was no. She just DM'd me because Patrick called me and he said you're gonna get a DM from this girl.
Did you respond to her?
No.
Okay.
Because what I realized is that I think I changed something in my settings. I don't know why I did this, but like to message me, you have to be like a friend or follower or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like it wasn't my restricted thing or like requests. So I had to click on it, and then it said like, oh, hey, this is blank. You know, I need Patrick's e-transfer, please. And Patrick had called me a minute before saying like, don't give her my e-transfer information because it seemed like Patrick got something for her and she wanted to pay him back, but you know, whatever.
You should have just given her yours and been like, send me the money and I'll
Sure,
give
yeah.
it to him.
Yeah, I'll give it to him.
And then just never give it. But anyway,
Patrick says send me double.
Send me double the money. No, so she says the following. She says, if it's discreet and if no one sees it,
That's crazy.
then it's okay. And I said the same thing that you said. I said that's a crazy sort of
well,
What do you mean? Well,
Sort of
define
idea.
okay.
then it's acceptable. Then like it's
Like
fine.
legally speaking, no.
No, then she's saying from her perspective, it's like it's acceptable, not
Hold on.
legally or-
I just want to make it perfectly clear. I
Yeah.
know we were joking about like sex and shit, but no, I'm not talking about sex in the theater, bro.
Aw.
You're just
What
talking
are we
about
talking?
like,
We're talking about head
Making
in
out.
the theater.
Sure, we can go as far as
Wow,
head.
really?
Realistic. What has
Sure.
happened in a
Definitely
theater?
happens.
Like head has happened in a theater.
Sure.
But like I don't
Yeah.
think anyone
I'm
smashed
gonna
in
just
a theater.
like not to jump ahead here, but as long as I
Say
can't
that.
see it or hear it and it's not distracting from my movie experience, I don't care. Like if I have no idea it's happening, I don't give
Well,
a
no,
shit.
I think no, but I think there's no way to. That's the truth, though. Like, no matter who you are, like to me, I would care if I found out about it afterwards. I'd be like, "What the fuck?" During the movie, they were doing that. But like, obviously, during the moment, if you don't know about it, you don't care. Even if you were to care afterwards.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, because in the sense of you bring up the making out thing, like that to me, if I was sitting in a couple seats down where people making out, that would be like distracting and weird.
Yeah.
That it would interrupt the movie going experience. That like I would have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But if it's out of sight, out of mind, I don't like care as much.
I feel like in a crowded theater, especially,
yeah,
just because you don't see it, Matthew, like there's definitely a party that sees it.
this
Yeah.
is a
I
good.
guess.
This is a good angle from above to below, or like to the side, other side.
Imagine above to below. Imagine they're below and they're doing
yeah,
They're
it.
in the front
Oh,
row.
God.
They're in the front
Yeah, yeah.
row and they're doing it.
She's her hands on the railing, on the front railing.
Aside from it being uncomfortable, though,
Sure.
I'm just absolutely baffled. For 70% of the movie, his tongue is down her throat. He effectively paid 2 movie tickets. I'm assuming he paid for her. He paid for 2
Wow.
movie tickets just to make out with this
How do you
girl.
know she
Yep.
didn't pay for both of them?
Well,
Pig.
it is the Barbie movie. My bad.
No, I get what you're saying. Where it's like, see, that would honestly to
So
me,
you can make out for free.
but that would be the
anywhere
thing
else.
Yeah, go
where
home. Yeah, go
Behind the
home.
movie
If-
theaters.
behind the
Behind the
movie
movie
In the
theaters.
comfort of a bed.
But yes, but that's the thing about what Mark's saying. Where like, if I didn't know in the moment it was happening, I would be fine, and if I found out about it afterwards, I would maybe be weirded out. I would be way more what Patrick's saying, annoyed of like, why would you piss that money away to do that? Like, why would you
Oh,
waste
sure.
that time, money? That would frustrate me way more than like the like, oh, I didn't know they were making out like 4 rows behind me kind of thing. Because to me, it's like, and I think we've talked about this before, where it's like, I love going to the movies so much, and that to me is a very like, it feels weird to say sacred, but it's like a thing where it's like, I like doing it, and I just like being able to do it. We've all been to movies, the 4 of us, where there's people in the theater we want to like strangle and beat the life out of
Oh God.
because they're like
don't
talking.
let me into that.
Notably Joker,
You've
by
nev-
the way.
What? Yes, because they're like talking during the movie or like laughing at the wrong parts.
Dude,
or just
they're
all this
la-
shit. And it's like, I don't want to tell people how to enjoy movies, let's say. But when it is people like talking the whole fucking time, or like a joke gets made and somebody laughs, but then it's like 5 minutes later and they're still laughing about the same joke. Like that kind of shit frustrates me so much. So that's the thing with the PDA stuff, where it's like, if you're making out, 2 seats beside me and it's interrupting my experience, it's like we have a problem. But
Yeah.
if I don't know,
To me, it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like broadly with the whole PDA thing, I'm not a fan of, again, anything past like a peck on the lips or something very like PG. I'm not a big fan of anything after that in public, like for myself. So I feel like in a movie theater, it's even more pronounced because it is like, I think of it as like a kind, not, again, I'm thinking of sacred because Matty was saying that, but I think of it as a place that's more like everyone's there for a common purpose. You're watching this thing and its focus is a part of it. So to me, it's like I wouldn't ever think to do that even more than if I was outside the movie theater,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My assumption was going to be that you two would care, and that Malcolm wouldn't care
About what?
about PDA
About myself doing it?
in a theater.
About
About
my-
other people or yourself, whatever.
I mean, I don't like it myself, and I don't like seeing other people do it myself.
Really?
See, personally,
You've never got anything in the
I've never
movie
got
theater.
any. I've kissed.
Ever.
I've
gotten
kissed in the
anything
movie theater. But I've never
theater.
gotten anything in the movie theater.
I personally am with Mark, where it's like personally in public, the most I'm doing, like with Varsha and I, the most is like a smooch and that's it, or a hug or whatever. We're walking
In the theater?
No, like
In general,
generally
okay.
theater anywhere.
It's behind the dumpster where he's gonna go.
Yeah. No, but when it comes to PDA of other people, I'm way less. Like, I'm more about myself, where it's like the most I'm doing is like a kiss and that's it. But like seeing other people doesn't really bug me. In the main, if I'm like walking through a park and there's a couple sitting on a bench like going at it, making out, I don't really care. Like, it's honestly kind of funny to me, and I just walk past and I don't mind.
What if the
But when
girl
it's
is
in a-
riding the guy,
Sure.
dry humping?
Sure, whatever.
You don't care still?
Not really.
Oh, really?
But when it's in a contained
I'd be grossed
space,
out.
like a theater, that I can't get out of, or if I was at like a restaurant or something, then it would be a thing of like
That's crazy what you just said.
more uncomfortable.
restaurant?
Of like,
A restaurant? Making out at a restaurant?
Imagine like a guy. They're on both on opposite sides, and then they both go over. And
Oh my god, across a booth?
The waiter's just refilling the water while you're doing it.
Also, Patrick, were you with me that one time? We were walking downtown Milton at night, and we were
Yes.
walking
By Mill
past
Pond.
the gazebo, and we looked. There's a park bench, and there's a guy sitting on the bench with a girl sitting on top of him.
hell
And
yes.
as we walk by, her tits are out.
Let's
all,
go.
all up in his face.
Let's
and
go.
He's having the time of his life.
He's
and
literally
I
having the
wasn't-
time of his life.
I wasn't upset or anything. I walked by and I said, "Good for him."
See, but that's what I'm saying. Where it's like, if it's just something that I see and can walk by, or it's like not consequential, then I'm like, whatever, I don't care. Whereas when it's a thing where it's like I'm trying to enjoy myself at a movie, at a restaurant, or just somewhere that like I'm here enjoying myself and somebody else is coming in and interrupting it with their PDA, then I mind. The PDA story I will toss out quickly, which we were all there for that. If you remember your birthday, Malcolm, earlier this summer, when we went for that walk.
Oh yeah,
to
the car.
the park.
Oh
and we were
my
walking,
gosh.
And we were on our way back from the park that we walked to, and we were going back to your house. And we walked by a car, and you were the one that spotted it first. And then we all walked by this car. And let me paint a picture for the audience. It was a car parked on a like neighborhood
A residential
a
street.
residential street at night
With a light, with lights
a
on the street.
light over it, like they were under a street light.
The car was on.
And the car was on with the fucking headlights and everything on. And we walk by, and all we see in the back seat is this white guy's ass just pumping
Dude,
away.
he was laying it down as hard as he possibly
He
could.
was
going
laying
crazy, bro.
pipe, bro. I almost
Gun
wanted
to your head, go as fast as you can.
I almost wanted to like.
Bro was a plumber with all that pipe he was
I
laying.
just wanted to like knock on the window, like, excuse me, sir, like, can you like give me some pointers? Like, how do I do what
let
you
me
do?
let me hop in there.
Let me sub in. Let me sub
show
in.
me what you're doing. Yeah,
My turn.
just like kick her out. Like, hold on, I need this
Wait,
guy.
what? Kick her out?
I want him to
What,
show
put
me
your
what he's
legs
doing.
I just imagine Maddie like Maddie opens the door.
Let me sub in, kick her out.
Kick her
Oh
out.
my god.
Maddie just opens the door and he starts pushing the guy.
How
Just
is
pushing the guy's
how
butt.
is he going to teach me if I'm with the girl?
I was just more so thinking you would be with her and he would give you pointers in your ear, you fucking idiot.
No, I'm thinking more like I'm just laying back. I'm like, show me what you
You're
got.
sitting on the other seat of the car.
Sitting in the driver's seat.
All right, let me experience this. Let me experience this lesson. Oh my god. But yeah, so
Learn by doing.
there's one more thing I want to say about the theater before we move on from this.
Please.
I understand what you guys were saying about the further away it is from you, the less you care.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel
Wait, I didn't say that. Wait, the further away,
Matthew was
the
saying that,
further
sorry.
away it is, the less I care. Even in the movie theater.
Yeah,
you're
in the
saying?
movie theater.
I guess so. Yeah. If I'm in the front row and someone's in the back left corner, but the problem is, it goes down to it comes back to the idea of not knowing. Because if it's super far, I don't know.
But if it's one of those things where
But
you,
if I can
where you
see
do
it-
know, but it's like really far away from you.
If I can see it
yeah.
and it's in super far away,
Yeah.
or if I could see it and it's in the row in front of me, either way, I'm like, I judge it.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't look. It's like, oh, they're far away, so it's fine. It's like it's the same action, so it's
Yeah.
it's equally as like
For me though,
annoying.
For me, if I'm like here and they're like far away, they're in the corner, they're doing
Yeah.
it, and it's kind of like an empty theater,
Sure.
then it's like I'll still be annoyed.
I just
like,
don't get that. I don't
I'll be
get
like whatever.
that.
Like I won't be too distracted. But
yeah,
it says something about a person who does it when they're close to you.
populated
Again,
area.
Sure.
in the Barbie movie, they were not 2 seats away from us.
Oh, like seat next to you.
They were maybe 2 seats away from us.
Oh, I see. Okay.
See, that's a whole
Which is
other
insanity.
Thing. Yes.
Mm-mm.
That's insane. Because again, to me, it would be like you're now interrupting my movie going experience. But even again, let's say if it was like, if it wasn't something like I mentioned earlier, if I was like walking through a park and like walked by a bench and there were people like going at it, I'd be like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But if I was like, at that point, it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. It's like a proximity thing. It's like, why are you doing this like so close to me and other people?
I'm gonna go back to what you were saying, which is like, why are they wasting the money? Like, that's something that would bother you.
Yeah.
And to me, it would be like, if you're, for example, at a movie theater and you have your partner beside you and you start watching the movie and you had every full intention to watch the movie, which was what should happen, and then for whatever reason, like, things start to pick up from there.
There's a saucy scene in the movie.
Sure, I don't know, whatever it is. To me, it's like, at that point, make the decision together, like, hey, let's go home. Because if we're gonna waste our money, we might as well waste it in a comfortable place.
Sure.
So
also
that. So to me, that's more respectful for other people, because no one has to look at that shit. That's like your private, intimate, situation.
Yeah.
And then if you're gonna waste the money, why not be comfortable? I just don't get the thought process behind it. I think people just get bored, I guess, and it's like, don't put that on other people to have to look at that.
Yeah. You know what makes the problem easier to do it's easier in a VIP theater. Because
are you speaking from experience?
I was about to say the same thing.
It's easier in a VIP theater. Because
way easier in a VIP.
Way
so much more space
because there's more space and there's two seats together that recline together with nothing blocking you from the other person.
But to me, that doesn't make it.
Just get the leg over, and
but that's not the conversation. Isn't about what's easier to do.
No,
to
but
me,
my point in saying that is at a VIP theater, I feel like it's more common to see it.
Sure, more common, but I don't think it's any more acceptable. And I think
I'm not trying to make a case that
I
it's
understand.
acceptable.
Yeah.
That's infinitely more frustrating though, because VIP seats are like way more expensive.
Sure.
So it's like now you're paying even more.
What are you
money.
doing?
You're paying even more money
dude,
to just go like fucking a theater.
I've never sat at the VIP section or whatever in the VIP theater, but I know it's not more comfortable than a bed.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if it's nice,
pretty damn comfortable.
More than your bed.
Listen, nothing's gonna be more comfortable than my bed.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
Go
it's
to your
pretty
bed.
damn comfortable. It's like the next best thing in a public place.
But why would you choose that and spend the money to be laying down with your partner and doing stuff when you can do that in a comfortable bed?
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah, that was pretty much all I wanted to
That
talk
was
about.
it. That was
very
it.
nice.
Unless you guys
PDA.
want to talk about PDA more generally, but I'm okay to leave that
Not
for
really.
another time.
I think it's just it's
No.
have fun out there.
I didn't really know how to frame my topic. I think at first I was thinking about just saying it's like about social interactions, but then I kind of narrowed it down to eye contact. Because to me, eye contact is something I've always struggled with, and I'm not sure how I'm even supposed to do it properly. I'm not sure what the proper way to maintain it is and all that stuff. And I feel like sometimes I'll talk to people and they'll lock eyes the entire time, and I'm like, I don't think that's right, because that's a lot.
Honestly, I don't think that's right.
Yeah, and
I feel awkward if I look up, someone's making eye contact with me. Like, I'll talk and I'll look away and think and do all that kind of stuff. And if I look back and they're still making direct eye contact, I'm gonna feel very weird.
Yeah, like, you ever meet someone new, or for me, I work in retail, so I talk to customers and whatever. And the other day, I talked to a guy who was actually a retired teacher, and I was just asking him questions and stuff, and he was really nice, and I think it went well, and he gave me some advice. But I felt like while I was talking to him, he was looking at me, and then I was like, am I supposed to jump from left eye to right eye and then back to, or am I supposed to just look in the middle? Am I supposed to look away? How often? I was overthinking how to make eye contact with him, because I feel like with people that I'm comfortable with, it just happens naturally. And I think it's easy on a podcast because I could just jump from person to person. I don't have to hold it for too long, and then I don't feel uncomfortable that way. But for a guy and right one-on-one, I feel like I look at him, one eye, the other eye, and then maybe I'll look away for a second, or I'll look down. I just don't know. I feel weird about it sometimes, and I'm not sure how do you guys even ever think about it, or what?
I think about it a lot, because when especially this week, now that I'm walking through school and it's packed, I went to the library and I was looking for a seat, and I'm just walking through, looking if there's any tables, and every table I walk by that has 3 empty chairs and one person, I'll see it last second. I walk by, I look down, and they're just straight at me. And then when I did find a seat, I would just look up and look around, so, when I'm not really doing anything. And I look over and there's this guy just looking at me, just making direct eye contact. I know he's looking at me. I can't mistake it. I look down and I pretend like I didn't see it or anything. I look back up, still there.
That's what I do with Patrick. Because Patrick sometimes I'll be talking on the show, and he'll be locked eyes with me, or Actually, it happens when Matty or Malcolm are talking. And then I have nothing to do with the conversation at the moment, and he's just locked in me. For some
I
reason.
think, didn't we bring this up last week?
Yeah.
Where you were like, why do you keep staring
Yeah.
at me, Patrick?
But I feel like, to me, there's too much. Like I mentioned, like locking eyes the entire time, but then there's also too little. Because to me, it makes me equally as uncomfortable when people are talking to me, and they're just like looking off.
Yeah.
And I'm like talking to them right here, and they don't even once look over, and they're just looking away. That happens sometimes. Some people are just really uncomfortable with it, and some people just feel like even a little bit of eye contact is like no.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to think of like how do I perfect that perfect middle ground, and I think it really depends on how long I've known the person, like how comfortable I am around them. But I'm trying to like perfect it for people that I don't know, like meeting new people. I don't want them to think like, oh, he was looking weird, or he was looking too long, or he wasn't looking enough.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my strategy for people I don't really know is like I like to look at the right eyeball.
Oh, you just focus on
like
one.
I don't like flip flop. Like
I
I'm
feel
just
like
like looking at the right eyeball.
But don't you feel like that's too stationary? Like you're too locked. And I think the
I don't
problem.
think so.
I think the problem when it becomes uncomfortable is when you realize that you're like locked in on one point. That's why I like to alternate. And so that doesn't feel weird to me. But the actual like.
I mean, the
in,
thing is, when they're talking, I'm like,
yeah,
looking
like,
at the right eye.
where? Oh, okay.
But then when I'm talking, that's where like I'll like, you know, if I'm trying to say something, I like talk with my hands, as you know. And that's where my head turns. Maybe I look to the right, I look to the left, and then like back to you, and then you start talking. Then like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm locked in while they're talking, but when I'm talking, that's where I give my head the freedom to like.
I know.
Agreed.
I know it's a cultural thing too, by the way, because I know a lot of people who are, I guess, Western, like grew up in Western culture. They've been told that like you should look people in the eyes when you talk to them. You should kind of like have steady, solid eye contact. But then some people from other cultures, they have been told that it's
Which
like
cultures?
like a lot of Eastern cultures, I think.
Which Eastern cultures?
I don't know. I just know like I know some Middle Eastern. I know some
Middle Eastern.
I think so. Or I don't not from my personal family or anything, but I've heard that like in certain Eastern countries, it's like if you look at someone dead in the eyes, it's like disrespectful. Like you shouldn't stare at them in the eyes, even if you're talking to them.
I've vaguely heard about that, but never. Like
I don't
I've
think
never
it's an
known
Egyptian thing.
I've never known a certain culture like by name that does that.
Me neither.
And I feel like I've
heard
also
that,
heard,
though.
but I also feel like I've heard like where it's like specifically for like girls if they like they should not be like looking. Am I like?
I think I've heard
no idea what
something.
you're talking about.
I've heard something about that where it's the idea in certain cultures is like, especially if it's like a girl looking at another guy or something. It's like if you lock eyes with someone of the opposite sex that you're both straight, then it's one of those things where it's like too intimate to lock eyes with someone. So like avert your gaze because it's like one of those things. All right,
But
maybe
again,
it's a religious thing. I'm not sure.
But again, it's one of those things where I want to like. I'd like to know which cultures these are. And
Sure,
like know
yeah.
for sure because I've heard it vaguely in passing many
Yeah.
times. But it's like
Yeah.
You got me really overthinking the way I talk to people because I'm just thinking back to like I'm sitting in class sitting next to my friend, I'm talking to her, and I'm like, how do I interact with her? I can't like at this moment I can't think how do I do it. I'm like, do I look in her eyes? Do I just look at her face? Do I look away? Like what do I do? Because I mean
I think it's extremely weird to look at someone's face and not their eyes.
What do you
Like
mean?
if I'm
like
looking
no,
at your
I don't mean like
nose.
look at like a specific part of their face. I just mean like face as a whole. Like I'm not looking at anything specifically.
He's thinking like, do I focus on one point or do I just like generally look at your face?
I feel like if you're generally looking at the face, then your eyes are going to be moving around a lot. Like you see what I'm doing
I feel
right
like
now?
my eyes do move around a lot.
I think that's fine. I think it's more.
It's just really awkward to just keep it locked in.
That's what I'm saying.
To me. It's just
actually-
really weird. I don't like that.
I actually think it's more. I actually
So
think it's
weird.
more comfortable to like have that movement. Like if I'm looking at Matty, I'm looking at like left eye, right eye. Maybe I look down to the side. I look back up. I feel more comfortable doing that. I don't know if you feel more uncomfortable when I do that, or if I lock in, it's more uncomfortable like this. You know what I'm saying?
I honestly have never really thought this hard about it.
Well, now
To
I
me,
just,
it's just
now I
like,
just ruined your life.
yeah, exactly. It like I'm with Patrick, where it's like if somebody else is talking, I am like locked eyes, like paying attention, kind of thing. And then when I'm talking,
on one eye or alternating eyes. Like if I'm talking to you right now, what are you doing?
I'm a
Like,
right
Are you
eye.
looking at just one of my eyes, or are you like alternating between both?
right now, just one.
Oh, okay.
I'm a righty.
But yeah, I might be a righty too.
What's
but
your bias towards the right eye? Like where is that coming from?
Well, I just lean a
It's
little
arbitrary.
right.
I don't know. I think it's my right eye is my good eye. I don't know.
Oh,
I
okay.
just happen to
Making
lean.
BS.
I
I
just
don't
lean
But if
a little.
but if
that
your
way.
right eye is your good eye, then you'd be hitting my left. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
My left.
It's your left, but it's my
But you're
right.
looking to the right.
My right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's your left eye though.
So yeah, I'm with Patrick where when I'm listening to somebody talk, I'm eye contact, and then when I'm talking to them, maybe it's a thing where I'm sort of like shifting my gaze all over the place. But I don't. The only times I notice somebody's eye contact in any way that's distracting or annoying is either A, if it's no eye contact, like if I'm talking to somebody and they're like sitting at their phone the whole time, like sure.
Well, that's
like that I notice, or I notice the like.
Yeah. But
like if somebody's beaming into your fucking head, but like generally I don't notice it.
But to me, when someone's on their phone, it's like an issue of them not being able to like pay attention. But if they're doing nothing and they're still not looking, to me it's like, oh, you don't know how to communicate to people properly in person. And to me, I worry about myself sometimes that I'm not properly because even this guy that I was talking to the other day, the retired teacher, he said that your generation doesn't have good social skills. They don't know how to interact with people.
Sure.
A lot of them.
Sure.
And I think that's true because I know if I talk to like people my age, people at work, sometimes it's like I feel like some people are just like, because they're holding on to something, like their phone or something, even if they don't have the phone, they're so used to not locking eyes because they're so used to being on something, I guess, that they just don't know how to do that properly, even when they're not holding something.
I don't necessarily find a lack of eye contact to be a problem because even though I was saying, like, I agree with Patrick where it's if somebody's talking to me, I'm usually like listening and looking at them. But like there are definitely times where like if I'm talking to you guys or somebody's saying something to me, like Patrick could be the person talking to me, and if he's like explaining something to me, like I could be sitting there just like soaking it in, but like not necessarily looking at him. And like people have done that to me too, and that I don't find
it's like a therapist. No, but that's
issue.
But you're talking about listening. But I'm saying like if you're talking to me,
sure.
No, sorry. If I'm talking to you and I'm saying, "Hey, Matty, so what did you do today?" Isn't that weird that I didn't look at you at all? Like I was just kind of like I was talking to you, but I'm not looking at you. To me, listening is a little bit different because, like you said, you can be looking off, you can be pondering, you just could be in thought. But when you're talking, you're not thinking about something else. You're like talking towards a certain person. So to me, it's just strange to not. I won't use strange. Like I'm not trying to like paint people that do that to look bad.
You used it.
But like, because to me, it's like sometimes I worry about that. Like, am I not looking enough? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never, like I said, I've never thought about it in that way too much.
You're so weird when you're talking to people. I guarantee it.
I'm sure.
I feel like everyone's weird in some aspect.
Yeah,
I've never like been. Or maybe because certain people that you're around, like you're so comfortable with each other that you don't feel that at all. Or maybe some people are just really good at it, you know? Like some people are way better than others. Or last thing, it could be that like two people have a good chemistry when it comes to that. Like one person's like, both people are like, you know, heavy eye contact people, so they feel both comfortable. Or both are very like darty, so they feel more comfortable. Where are you looking? You know what I was talking to all three of you, and he's looking there.
That's my favorite when people talk about doing that
I
thing
like
sometimes.
how you picked up on that
where like they'll be talking to somebody, but they like intentionally look like just to the left of their head, so that they're like looking
That's
at
so
the
weird.
person, but like not technically. It's like, hey, Malcolm, what's up? Well, yeah.
I like that.
It's so unnerving.
There's a line in the Truman Show. Have you seen the Truman Show?
No.
It's the Jim Carrey movie. Me and Patrick watched it together. Actually, it's just a movie about this guy who lives in this like dome world, and he's like the star of a reality show. And the whole idea of the show is that he's the only one who thinks he's in a real world, and everyone else is actors. Everyone else who lives in this dome world is an actor. His wife's an actress, like all this stuff. So there's like a moment where his wife like starts trying to talk to him about the cereal brand. He's like just starting to catch on that people are acting, including his wife. So he's kind of like pushing her and trying to ask her questions. And she kind of like panics and starts to like read off basically from a teleprompter like an ad for the cereal while he's trying to ask her questions about why she's acting so strange. And she's like talking to him, and he's like, who are you talking to? He's like,
oh, I've seen that.
Yeah. So to me, that's what I think about when people are like off in the distance. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I'm right here. What are you doing?
I think this next week at school, I'm going to be very attentive to the way I talk to people. I think I'm going to come back and I want to open with the way I do it.
The only thing about eye contact that I find bugs me is when I'm not talking to people, but it's what you're talking about, where like everybody has those moments where if you're like out in a public space and you like happen to lock eyes with somebody for a second and it's like a little awkward, whatever. That in and of itself doesn't bug me, But it's like the repeated thing. Like if I kind of like happen to lock eyes with somebody and I look away for like 5 seconds and then I turn back and they're like still looking at me is like weird as shit. Or if I'm just walking by and I see somebody like staring at me and then I'll kind of be looking at them and they're just looking at me and neither one of us breaks and they're just kind of watching me go by. I'm like, what do you fucking what do you want?
I make it a point when that happens to
stare
not
back.
break.
Stare back.
Like I'm gonna keep looking until you stop looking. But you know what I really want to be able to do? I want to be able to just be in a cafe or like the library and just like if I do make eye contact with someone, I want to be able to just like smile and like go back to what is that weird?
No.
Like I want to because I've never like it's always like I'm doing my thing and then I notice and then I was just like
but I think
I'm uncomfortable. I want to be able to be comfortable, be like, oh, I made eye contact.
I feel
Smile
like,
at the person.
I feel like
it should be. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like it's a thing because this week I made eye contact 3 times in a row with the same guy looking right across me, and the 3rd time I just had to nod my head and be like,
yeah.
But I think for guys, when you make eye contact like that, and it's too long or too often, you give the head nod. But if it's a girl, you just give like a nice little smirk.
So what smile? So do I give her like a no teeth, like a?
I think you do one of these. I think you do one of these. Go. You got it. You know what I'm saying?
No,
don't do that.
No.
Like
I think you do.
smirk, right?
I think you do one of these. You go.
Definitely don't do that.
No, that's
This?
so much more creepy, dude.
I'm just a head.
I'm happy.
I'm just a head nod guy. If I happen to lock eyes with him, it's just kind of like and that's it.
If it's a girl though,
same thing.
Same
Just
thing?
a head nod. If it's a dude, every once in a while, like it's very specific circumstances, but every once in a while, very rarely with a guy, I'll just throw in like a little,
you know this look.
One of these.
Okay.
You know this look of like there's like memes about it where it's like a guy going like
Yeah.
that. I kind of do a semi version of that where it's like I lock eyes and I'm like, I'll kind of go off and do my own thing.
yeah.
And to me, that's less weird than like full smile or.
I don't do full smile.
No, me neither.
That's weird. Like
Honestly,
okay, that's weird.
When
You're
Malcolm
right.
was talking about with a guy in front of him, it reminded me of like being. I don't know if I was on campus or if I was at work, but I looked over at someone and I realized this guy was like staring locked on me, and I went back to doing what I was doing, and I'm like, I'm gonna pretend like it didn't happen, and then I still feel like it's there, so I kind of look, and he's still looking. I go back, and then I'm like, okay, this time I'm gonna look up, and I'm gonna lock for a little bit and see if it's just me. It's in my head. Am I really seeing that right? And so I look up, and he's still looking at me, and I just stare, and I just kind of like, I give him a nod, like we're good, like we're cool. What's up? Like
we're good.
Like does he have a problem with me? Like what's going on? I'm like, and he didn't nod back. He was just staring. And I was like, I don't know if he's zoned out or something, but like that made me feel weird.
You should run up like you want to fucking.
Yeah.
You want to kiss? What do you want?
Yeah.
Okay, so are we in agreement then? So it should be something like that.
I think that's too long.
Like
I think that's too long. I feel it's like go off to do your own thing.
I
don't want to hold
with
it.
a girl, I don't do a head nod. I'm gonna go. I just go like.
Okay, so let's say you're the girl. So
I feel like
that's just a weird smile you're giving me.
Patrick's a robot.
That's just a weird smile.
Patrick's an alien pretending to be human.
Smile.
No, but you know, the problem is because you're forcing it. You're
Yeah,
like
exactly.
trying to do it. I feel like you just have to naturally in the moment just be like
to be quite honest with you guys, I can't smile for shit. I feel like it's
Try the side smile. Go like.
No, that looks weird.
Honestly, that looks more normal than his
No.
actual smile on both sides.
But
There
you
go.
can smile when you're not trying to smile.
Can I? Okay,
Yeah.
that's,
You know what the problem
I'm
is?
glad then.
When I agree with you in a sense because when I'm taking if I'm having a picture taken of me or in a
Yes.
group, I don't know what to do because like I feel like this is like too.
You can do that.
Because it usually takes them a good 5 seconds for them to take the picture.
Yeah.
So like holding it, I'm like I feel fake right now.
Yeah. Honestly, I envy people who can like pose
Natural.
for that naturally and like they look fine.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where I try and force it and
Mhm.
it looks awkward.
You know what I
kind
do
of thing. Like
sometimes?
it just looks bad.
Yeah,
It's
you know
like,
what I-
Patrick, why do you look constipated?
You know what I do sometimes? They'll take a picture and I'm like I didn't like how that one went.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of like if I'm smiling with my teeth, I'll like reset and try again.
Mm.
Like if snapping out and then back in is gonna make me look more natural,
Mm.
or like I try to think of something funny or something like that. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know that's a
yeah.
whole other thing.
It's
but
all other thing.
but yeah, thanks for chatting with me about it.
Eye contact.
Thank you.
Everyone look at the camera.
Alrighty, fellas. I'm going to take you on a bit of a walk before we get into my topic here. So, I've had this topic rattling around in my head recently, and something came up that was going to make me change topics. Patrick's already laughing. What? Something came up recently that I was going to change and talk about that and I will eventually. But a couple days ago, I had a dream, which is not something I do very often. Patrick's still laughing. What?
I'm sorry. It's this guy's face.
What do you mean?
This guy's face. Talk about eye contact. I had a dream recently where I don't remember most of the dream other than seeing a friend of mine.
What are you guys doing? Why?
Stop looking at me like that.
I didn't look at you.
You know what you're doing.
No, Malcolm. I looked over at Malcolm because he was laughing, and I looked over at you, and you were also laughing. I was
You
like,
know
"Why are they
what
still
you're
laughing?"
doing, bro.
I don't.
Okay, go. I'm not gonna look.
I'm just trying to listen to what Matty's saying.
So it's like my original topic wanted to happen this week because a couple days ago I had a dream, and all I remember from the dream was it was me and a friend of mine, longtime childhood friend of mine.
I hate myself. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Was it Michaela?
Yes,
Oh no! What was the dream?
it was Michaela, and all I remember in the dream was just being so happy. Now everybody's fucking laugh.
So they're in a residential neighborhood park.
No, I
Oh,
just
no. They're in a car with the headlights on.
That's Matty in the car in his dream.
He wanted to be that guy
so bad I
badly.
dreamt it. No. So all I remember from the dream was just seeing her and having to say goodbye, like her having to leave or something.
Dude, now I'm laughing. I'm so sorry. Saying goodbye to her, like leaving, like
Like her just going like, all right, like I'm going now. And
Okay.
me saying like goodbye to her and just like breaking down in the dream crying. Like
Oh, wow.
just sobbing
Okay.
in the dream,
I
crying.
thought this was gonna be a funny thing.
No, this is a more serious
Oh,
topic.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Even though we've all been laughing the first
Yeah.
fucking minutes of it.
You're
Just
kind of bringing my mood down here,
like
bro.
sobbing,
Bruh.
having to like say goodbye and just like giving her a big hug and then waking up and just being like so distraught. And I was like,
Was she dying?
no, just leaving. And I was bummed out all morning. And it relates to my topic that I had thought about doing. And then when I had this dream, I was like, well, I'll put the other thing on the shelf. I'm doing it for now. And I don't know what the umbrella term for it would be
like lost connection.
aside from like losing contact
Sure.
with people.
Estrangement.
Or estrangement, perhaps. Oh, that's a good one. I didn't think about that. Because it was rattling around in my head recently of like thinking about people that I know or have known throughout my life and losing them. And not in like a, people dying and that thing. Like that's a whole
Carter?
other conversation.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about him the other day.
Oh,
Elementary school.
Elementary school.
Yeah, I saw him in my. He still follows me on Instagram, and I was like, "What happened to him?"
Dead.
Carter? Who's Carter?
It's
Elementary
a
school
guy
friend.
from our elementary thing. But
Prolific man.
prolific man.
There.
So, and I think about people throughout my life, and like I think back on times with people that I was so close with or knew well, or even if it wasn't that we were that close, but I think about like, somebody that I saw in like the same high school class, like every day, or, at where Patrick and I work, like people who I would see at work all the time, and, all these things. And a more recent example, like having graduated now, like I think about people in the first couple of years of my program where it was before all the COVID shit, where it was like we were together and like, every once in a while somebody would throw a party and we'd all be in a place, and it was like, there were people that had their issues and grievances, and there was, always gossip and, things, but it was like a tight-knit thing. And I
Why
just
did you?
Gossip.
Why did you say
Gossip.
I don't know. I think about these people sometimes, and the ones that I'm not, let's say, in my orbit anymore is sad for me and frustrating. And then when I think about people that are in my orbit and are still around, there's a part of me that feels a certain amount of guilt of like not seeing people or talking to people or like being around people that I want to be around with, but that just doesn't happen for like a plethora of reasons. And I try to tell myself where it's like,
It's all your fault. It's all your fault.
I try to tell myself now where it's like,
I was making it.
I'm older now, I'm busier now, I've got you guys, you and I have our work friends who we see on a fairly regular basis. I've got Varsha and like some of our school friends that I see on a fairly regular basis. And that's kind of like the 3 friend groups I have, let's say. It would be like you guys, our work friends, and then like Varsha and I's school friends kind of thing.
So you're saying you feel guilty is what you're saying?
Yes. And there's some people on the periphery of that, like Michaela and like some other people. And that being with those 3 groups of friends on top of working a job and like, as somebody who values their private time and alone time of being able to just sit at home and play video games and shit, I try to like reassure myself of like, I just don't have time for all these things or all these people. And it's not also me saying like I'm trying to cut them out or anything, but I don't even know. I'm rambling on a bit here. Forgive me.
Hotshot with no time, eh? Damn.
Huh?
You said you're a hotshot with no time to give, eh?
Yeah. I'm rambling a bit here, so forgive me. But it was just with Michaela, for example. I'll use her as the example. Like a few weeks ago, she was home.
You never ended up seeing her, did you?
I did. Her and I and Emily and my brother, the 4 of us, ended up
Emily
hanging
who?
out.
We can bleep this out by I think.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Bleep. It was the 4 of us just going to like dinner or whatever, and seeing her, because I haven't seen her since probably like the spring. No.
Oh,
Michaela, since
okay.
the spring or like maybe even before that kind of thing. And even I want to say it was last summer, although it might have been earlier this summer, where some high school friends of ours like asked us to come out, and none of you guys could make it, but I went for like a couple hours.
Is it for the guy who was moving away?
Yes. And even that.
Oh, you made it.
Yeah, I went for like an hour or 2.
She was there?
No, she wasn't there at that. This was a
The call
separate
outs?
thing. Yes.
Dude, why are you saying names?
We can't bleep everything
Yeah,
out.
but you're just giving more work for Matty.
I don't mind saying names of people as long as it's not like, compromising
Sure.
shit. Like if we're just talking about people, I don't mind saying names. It's more like if I was like,
Yeah.
so-and-so's a fucking dumbass, or
we
so-and-so did this thing that they might not want out there. But just saying names, I have no problem.
Yeah, like we're talking like accusations versus just mentioning a name.
Yeah, just like I have no problem mentioning Michaela. But
We just to clarify, like we could mention whoever we want to mention.
We can.
Like it's not our responsibility to be like, oh, is it okay if we mention you in the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
so seeing Michaela and like catching up and all that felt.
So you were there with. Oh my God, I was about to list everybody. I'm sorry.
This other occasion I was with, yes, some of our other friends, you know who they are, and it was seeing them, and it was just this.
Oh, that's so nice.
It
Bro. I
was-
wish I was able to
But
make
it was
out to
this
that.
weird thing of like not having seen some of them in so long.
Was it awkward?
For me, it was a little.
Oh wow.
There was a slight
Interesting.
and not to if anybody if
Here-
any
here's
of
a-
them,
Dude,
if any of them hear this.
you gotta name names and we'll cut that out because I want to know who you're talking about.
Here's the thing though,
Like,
Matthew.
who are you talking
Here's
about
what
that?
I've always thought about that group. I feel like
Can we name names? I don't know who you're talking about.
he's
though.
talking
Name
about
'em.
Ethan. He's talking about Raquel. He's talking about all those.
Like who else? But like,
Yeah.
'cause
Ethan,
those
Raquel,
are the typical.
Collins,
But those are the typical.
Javier, maybe.
Those are the typical people we'd hang out with at his house. But I'm saying there's like other people from high school.
No, it was
I thought you were talking.
was
so
them.
there was no one
Yeah, it was
extra.
them.
And this is how I feel about it. I think when the 3 of us are together with that group, I don't think you would have felt awkward
No.
because whenever
He has a crutch, you know?
whenever it's the 3 of us, or even if it's like me and Malcolm meeting up with people from our past or whatever.
Sure.
If it was me alone, it's always one of those things where I feel, and I can't describe why I would feel more awkward, but it's like maybe it's something along the lines of like I'm less, and this doesn't feel like the right word, but protected almost.
Well, I was gonna say to me it's about a safety net. Like
Yeah.
if you're just kind of stranded, you might get in your head about like, I haven't seen these people in X amount of years or months or whatever. I haven't. It's kind of like to me about. I feel like a lot of social interactions, which kind of ties back to my other topic, is like all about, like how like if you're out of practice, basically.
Yeah.
Like if you're kind of rusty with a certain group of people, because we would never feel weird around each other ever because we're so in form talking to each other. But if you're talking to a group of people that you haven't talked to in a very long time,
Yeah.
or that you've never talked to, it's normal to feel like weird. And I feel like having one of us there or multiple of us there is like a crutch that you can just lean on and be like, okay, here I can be comfortable for a second, gain some confidence in my speech or whatever, in the way I'm able to talk, and then go back and I can kind of redirect that confidence that's bouncing around with us to like other people. You know?
And don't get me wrong, like I love Collins and all those guys.
I don't.
Oh wow! All right, you guys heard it here first. But yeah, it's like you said, it's one of those things, and I even mentioned this to Matthew with sometimes hanging out with work people. I sort of get that feeling where like I feel like I am an imposter almost, for lack of a better word.
Can I say?
But recently, I actually did hang out with work people without Matthew a few times.
It was fine.
And I'm starting to get like a lot more comfortable.
But that's a
with them.
different thing because they're people you see on a regular basis. To me, it's this idea of like losing touch with people and not seeing people. And then this one branch of this conversation that is coming up to me is like this idea of like seeing them again. It's not in a bad way or anything where it's like, I don't want to see them or anything like that. I'm not saying any of that. I do want to see them, but there is like a weird
chemistry.
There was like a certain like awkwardness about it. But for example, the thing that I'm kind of getting at more, so this is more a whole side tangent. What I'm getting at more is specifically like with Michaela, for example, where it's like seeing her for those few hours a few weeks ago, even though her and I like text every once in a while, seeing her for those few hours was so nice and comforting. And I mean, she's like practically my brother and I's sister. I mean, I've known her longer than I've known my fucking brother. So it's like seeing her again was so nice and comforting. But there was, and maybe this is where the dream comes from, there was this like sadness in me in like having to like, all right, well, see you again when you're home for Christmas or like, you know, next fucking spring in the new year or whatever. And it's like, there's a sentimental part of me that sort of longs for old times, I guess, and like being with people. And because, you know, another example is like there's somebody that you and I used to work with who left our work years ago at this point, who was there a few weeks ago, and I saw them, and it was such a like exciting like
I have no idea who you're talking
thing
about.
that I was like so happy to see them, and it was like, hey, what's up, blah blah. And there was like, again, that slight awkwardness of like, I haven't seen you in a long time, but like we still know each other and are chummy and that kind of shit. But it was still like, it was a pleasant reunion. But again, it gives me that like immense sadness. I don't know,
You know what I feel like
how else to say, of just like feeling like I missed this person and missing people. And I like, put it this way, I long for the days of like, not necessarily being in high school, but it's like I long for the days of like sitting around the cafeteria table when it was like a dozen of us every day all hanging out there. Or I long for the days of like, even though it's only a few years ago, walking through the Learning Commons at Sheridan and just like walking through and never knowing who was going to be there, who you were going to see. It's like, oh, somebody from my program that I just give a little wave to, or like 3 or 4 of my friends are like hanging out at the table, and I go sit with them and like, you know, kill an hour before I go home or whatever. Like, and I just think about all these people that at one point in time, some of them were important fixtures in my life. And even if it was more passive or just like friends you had that weren't necessarily like, you weren't like best friends or anything, but they were friends. They were people in your classes. They were people you played sports with. They were people you fucking worked with, whatever it is. I don't know. Like, it's like I miss some of those people. And then there's times, back to the guilt thing, where I feel almost bad of like, I could reach out or say hi or do this or do that or try and like get together. But then it's the thing of like, when am I going to have the fucking time to like balance any of that?
Do you feel like when you say that you're guilty, it's because like I sometimes think about it where if I'm super close with someone at some point and then we get to a point of like rarely ever talking, it almost feels like cruel in a way of like, or like it feels like you feel bad because maybe you felt like what are we, just like using each other in a certain amount of time in life, and then all of a sudden like once we're not in the same area, like we're just like done with each other. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a certain level of that to me where it's like, oh, I was so close with this person, and then as soon as like life kind of slowly separates, it just feels like really messed up to like throw away this like, you know, solid connection with someone, for example. And I feel like a part of that is like, you know, with Michaela, for example, like she's away and she's living her life, right?
Yes.
And she's doing all of this other shit and like all these new experiences and stuff. And, you know, I'm sure she's happy and doing all this other stuff. And to me, it's like, I feel like time is very cruel and it's also very like rewarding because you get to like experience these really cool things. But then inevitably, like everything comes to an end at some point and nothing lasts forever. So like you'll branch off and do something else with your life. And I feel like a part of it's like, it's beautiful because you get to like move on and you're never like stuck in the same thing. You can like kind of, your soul has time to like fly and do all this, do all this other shit. Whereas at the same time, it's like super sad because that stuff that you probably still like has to end as well in order for that cool stuff to happen. So I feel like the way I think about it sometimes, it's like, it just feels like wrong that I had people in my life that I was like best friends with for years. And then now it's like, we don't care about each other. Like we have our own individual lives, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. It's like, I don't often think about it because I have so much shit going on in my present time to worry about and think about and like care about. But when I think back years and years and years ago, it's like, it just feels weird that everything has changed. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it feels almost.
I feel like you're being a little extreme. Like in your language, you said, "Oh, I used to have people in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and we sort of drifted apart. Now we don't care about each other at all." Like I don't feel
Not that, but I feel like
Yeah.
I think sometimes I conflate frequency with like frequency of
Caring?
seeing someone with caring. But to me, eventually those equate at some point because like if you give someone no time of day ever,
Mm-hmm.
then ultimately that means that you don't.
But like people who I used to
Have
know
effort.
people who I used to know in elementary school,
Sure.
I don't like. I still am connected with them on social media.
Sure.
I don't like. I know what you're saying with like caring, equating caring and frequency of seeing each other, but it's one of those things where, like you said, life moves on,
Yeah.
and you guys just become in different places in your lives.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I see it is it's one of those things where I feel that I could reach out to anyone in my past and just be like, hey, do you want to like grab a coffee? Like, do you guys want to meet up
Sure.
at some point? But
nothing.
it's like that care is still there is what I'm trying to
Sure.
say.
But to me, it's like the hard part is that like nothing will ever be the same anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing will ever, even if you still have that same like love and care for each other.
Yeah.
To me, that connection will always be different now. Like there always might be some sort of awkwardness. There always might be some sort of like, you can't escape the reality that you don't talk to each other anymore,
Yeah.
or very rarely. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to me, I see my good friend Matthew from. We can bleep that out, like the city, but I see Matthew every once in a while. Let's say like once or twice a year, and I always feel like I love him just the same, but at the same time, it's like, again, we're out of practice. We're out of hanging out with each other. We're out of talking with each other. So when you kind of reconnect, I don't care how much love or care you have for someone or how often you spent time with each other. It's like time is cruel. Like no matter what, things will be frayed in some sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
Like show me one person like that you hung out with like 20 years ago, for example. Like let's say when we're in our 40s, like you see someone from in your 20s and nothing has changed between you two. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right, yeah.
you can't. It's intertwined. Like the other person's life experience, your life experience. Like even if the kind of like dynamic chemistry is the same, it's like all the other life shit is a part of who you are, and you can't escape that. So like your interactions will never be exactly the same,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of people feel like is shitty because you want it to be exactly the same. You want that energy to be like perfect, like it was.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't had the experience of not seeing someone for 20 years, but
Sure.
I don't completely agree. I have 3 examples of people who I don't see regularly, and it's like a year or even more between seeing them. Like for Merrick, I didn't see Merrick for over a year. I wouldn't talk to him as often or very often, to be honest. It's the same thing with Adriano and the same thing with Liam. I don't see any of them for over a year, even sometimes more than a year. I talk to them just rarely, like a month, couple months. But the second they get back, it's just back to normal to me. For me, it's like right away the exact same thing as it was before.
And you feel like your dynamic with this person, like nothing has changed, like zero, in terms of like not necessarily how you get along, because let's say you get along equally as well, but like there's no unspoken feeling of like, damn, things are different now, even a little bit. Because I mean,
I guess in the sense of like you're doing something different, I'm doing something different.
That's what I'm saying. Even if it's as simple as that, that to me is inescapable.
But,
Like the chemistry might be.
The chemistry is. I feel like that's. I don't know. I thought the point here was like the chemistry that we were having with people and the awkwardness, but I just don't feel that with these certain people.
Well, there's definitely people like that in life. Like, again, Mikhail's an example of that, where it's like seeing her, it's like it was fucking yesterday, of just like the same dumb jokes and just like talking to each other and blah, blah, blah. Or even like Christy, for example, somebody like, for me, again, somebody I haven't seen in forever, and like,
what is he doing?
Is an example of that. Bugs me, where it's like, man, I wish I saw him.
Does he live where we live still?
I don't even know. And this is like,
what do you mean?
Part of my problem.
You don't know where he lives?
Wow.
Not right now. He might have. I don't know if he moved out or did whatever. But this is an example of like.
But like why? Like what? You guys don't talk anymore?
Not like actively in a like I don't want it, but it's just like it just hasn't. You know, not like forever, but it's been a while, and that's an example of like. He's an example of somebody where it's like him and I, when we get together, it is a like we're in grade 6 again, and it's like everything's, you know, hunky dory. And, you know, so I get what you're saying about, because yeah, Merrick's the same way, where it's like I didn't talk to Merrick once basically while he was gone for school last year, but this summer when he was here, it's like there was no like, oh hey, like it's been a while, but it was right back to like, hey man, what's up? Yeah, Patrick did this stupid thing. Did you see that? Like it's right back into like the swing of things. So there's definitely people and relationships where that does happen. I guess I'm more like disturbed by the ones where it doesn't. And I know to what your point is, where it's like, I know it's a losing battle, and I know there's like an inevitability to it. Just like I know there's an inevitability looking back on it now, that it's like there are friends I had in high school or at work or at college or whatever that I am never going to see again or never going to talk to again. And that is kind of like the root of what I'm talking about, where it bugs me to like have lost people in quotes, because I am more sentimental. Not saying you guys aren't, but I'm just saying I generally as a person am like sentimental, and I attach easily and quickly, and the people I do get along with, like I get along with and want to be with them and spend time with them and enjoy hanging out with them and all these things. And then to lose people just through the, you know, circumstances of life or whatever, like there's something about that that was just rattling around.
Do you not have them on social media?
I do, but that's different.
I feel like that's not different. I feel like for me, if we're going to acknowledge the inevitability of losing people and friendships evolving over time, social media is a great thing in that it allows you to keep in contact with these people who fray away from your life.
For sure,
but on Facebook
and maintain a connection that's not the same as it was before, but a connection that's still.
But that's my whole point of like the part that feels the most sad to me about it is that you can never have that recreation anymore.
Yeah.
Even if it's like maintained and you're still happy to be talking to the other person.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, and I agree with what you guys are saying of like, there are certain people that you might not be able to see for years, and then once you talk to them again, it just feels like supernatural still. But to me, it's like, even if it feels natural, you can't escape the fact that things are different and they're not the same as they used to be. And to me, a lot of people miss that exact scenario, not just the person. They miss that whole world. They miss that whole environment. They miss that whole group or whatever it is, that building, that room, the cafeteria, whatever. And I feel like it's one of those things where you're just kind of like, it's like nostalgia too, you know, thinking about your past. And yeah, but I don't know. To me, it's like the whole idea of things being different with social media, to me, is like, that's the whole point, is that things are different. And that's what you miss, is that exact thing. So to me, it's like, it's inescapable. It's inevitable that you're going to feel, I mean, depends on the person, but like for me, I feel like it's inevitable that I'm going to feel sad about that exact scenario not being the same anymore. But yeah, I don't even know where I'm going.
Well, I mean, on the point of losing people, what I will say is that at least it gives you sort of some chance of not losing as many people.
I was kind of throwing one more thing. Really,
but sure, go.
I was just gonna say, I feel like I actually don't really look back. I was just kind of playing devil's advocate in a way, but I feel like I'm not the type to be like super sentimental about really past things. Like I don't ever really think about like, oh man, like I miss being in the high school cafeteria and whatever. I don't think about that.
I really don't miss it.
You know, I don't know what it is. I feel like because I'm and this is not to imply that you're not happy where you are, but to me it's like, because I'm like focused on all this shit now and I'm happy with a lot of stuff that's going on now, I don't find myself naturally looking back too much. And I feel like I'm happy with my progress, and I'm happy with where I'm going. I'm just happy with the way things are. So I don't think I look back and I'm like, oh, that was fun, and then I just kind of brush it off. But I never feel like deeply like saddened by missed opportunities or missed connections, you know? Like for my friend Matthew, for example, I love him to death, and we're always going to be connected in some sort of way. We no matter what, make time for each other in the year to see each other at least once or twice a year on our birthdays or whatever it is. But to me, it's like, I look back and we sometimes go, oh, that was fun when we were like in grade 3, like best friends, all this stuff. But then we don't feel sad about it. We're just like, oh, I mean, that's life. And like, you know, but it's really awesome to see you. And I'm glad that you're still in my life. And I don't ever feel that sort of sadness, to be honest. Like if I'm really thinking about it, I don't ever feel connected in that way.
For me, it's just like, yeah, I can think back on the good times. So when I say like I miss being at the cafeteria in fucking high school, it's not that I necessarily want to be like back in high school at that moment, but it's like, it's what I'm saying is more like I wish in my life right now, as it stands, every day I was having lunch around a table with all those people still. Is I guess what I'm saying.
Wow.
But to me, it's like it's.
I don't feel.
It's not the like time or place. It's just the people. I miss the people, and I think about it too. Like even like there's, I think it's why like
I'm sorry.
I'm what 4 or 5 years out of high school now,
5,
and I still once or twice a semester go back to our high school to say hi to a couple teachers because there's a part of me that like misses those people genuinely, and I have a hard time like letting them go, I guess. And I get what you're saying about social media, but in my mind it's like, so what, I'm gonna be texting like 100 people on social media from across like high school, work, college, like that I don't see anymore, but that I want to still have in my life. So I'm going to be texting like 100 people on social media. Like that's just not, A, that's not realistic, and B, I like social media and texting is just not the way I want to engage.
What frequency do you want to have them involved in your life at this point? Every day?
I don't know, just more than none, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess sure, I could text some people, you know, once in a blue moon, I guess, but it's like
I feel like I get what you're saying, and I feel like maybe if it's like that important to you, you can make it a thing of like maybe like once a couple months, like what Mark does with Matthew. Just like reach out to them, be like, hey, let's just like grab a coffee. Like it doesn't have to be a huge commitment. It can be literally once every couple months, and and then maybe it won't make you feel better, but maybe it will make you feel better.
What I was gonna say too is that I feel like with this whole topic of like, you know, losing contact with people and like.
Can I say just one thing?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to like try and give you advice and make you. That wasn't my intention.
No, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
So to me, it's like, I feel like the sad part of this whole topic is the same exact reason why it's like a beautiful part of life too. I just feel like it's really, I think about it like a hopeful thing of like, no matter what, like, it's like a sure thing. Something feels peaceful about knowing that nothing is going to last forever. Like something's peaceful about knowing that life moves on and you grow and you move on. And it's like a beautiful journey. Like I don't ever think like I want to go back to that place. Or even for a second, I don't want to go back there, because to me, it's in the past. It's done. It was awesome. It was fun, and I love it. But like I'm here where I am now, and like I'm looking forward and I'm excited. So to me, I think about it like, yeah, it's sad, but on the same side of the coin, I feel like it's, or I don't know if it's on the different side of the coin or the same, but for that same reason, I feel like it's beautiful because it's fleeting. You know, it's like if it lasted forever, it wouldn't be cool or wouldn't be, you know. The fact that you miss it and love these moments, for example, like to me, that's a beautiful thing, and you should like hold on to those memories and like cherish them and stuff, but like not harping on them, because to me it's like they're beautiful because they were temporary.
Well, yeah, there's definitely like that bittersweet
angle
to it.
Like I'm sure when you were crying in your dream, like saying bye to Michaela, it's like it's a super deep, sad feeling, but at the same time, it's like this love for this person, you know?
Sure. Yeah, there's definitely like a bittersweet side to it, and I get what you're saying, but it doesn't remove this like innate sadness that I have in me thinking about this generally, and then like specific people of just like, you know, people I just miss and people that I wish were still, you know, involved in my life and that I was still involved in their life, or like not that we're not involved at all, but maybe like more involved, or just like, you know, I get what you're saying about this idea of like wanting to move forward, but to me, not looking back and like even being a little like stepping back into that for a little bit, that to me is like just as weird kind of thing of like.
But I didn't say that though.
You're saying like you wouldn't go back, or it's in the past, or it's...
I wouldn't go back, but I'm saying I still love and cherish those memories.
Sure, but what I'm saying is...
And I look back, like, in terms of, like, the actual, like, oh, like, that was a good time. I loved that time. Like,
yes.
I was happy in that time, too.
You look back at it as it's done and over with.
Yeah, but I still enjoyed it, and I still look at it fondly. But
sure.
I don't ever think, like...
But I'm saying, to me, the lack of, like, not wanting to, like, step back into that, even just briefly, that, to me, is, like... weird as shit. I
don't think so. I don't want to step back into high school. I loved high school. I had a good time. I look at it with like, from my perspective, like a healthy perspective of like, that was a cool time. I learned a lot, but like, you know, I'm growing and I'm getting better and I'm getting, you know, smarter and whatever it is. Like, I like the direction that I'm going, and I don't feel like I ever want to go back to that place, because although it was a happy, fun time, I feel like, you know, I didn't know a lot, and I know more now, and I've grown more now, and I feel like I'm more the person I want to be, the kind of pinnacle of who I want to be now than I was back then.
But
I don't feel any sort of like, oh, I want to go back there.
But I'm not talking about all that stuff. I'm just talking about like specifically just the like seeing people or being with people. And
I never said I don't want to see people. I just said I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back in time into that moment. I don't care. Like, to me, it's like I loved what that was, but I don't ever feel the need to get back there. Reconnecting is different. To me, it's like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I don't care about reconnecting with people. That's in the past. No, I'm saying like that time, that moment, that kind of culmination of all those things is in the past, and I don't ever feel like I want to go back there.
Sure. Well, I don't want to like necessarily be back in high school, but it's like...
No, but I'm not saying permanently, but I'm saying like, to me, it's not weird to not want to go back to that time, even for a little bit, to kind of like, oh, how... Like, to me, it's like reconnecting with people is, I guess, a way to go back there. But to me, it's like, I never think like, oh, I need to re-experience that, or I wish I could go back to that. I never feel like I wish I want to go back.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just...
But I'm not saying
it's weird. I don't know.
But I'm not... Okay. I mean, I think it's... To me, it's weird to say that it's weird, because to me, it's like, that's just your personal thing. Like, I don't look at
well, yeah, it's just... It's from my perspective, it's weird to like not...
Yeah, but...
Desire that in some...
Desire what?
Like, just that... nostalgic sort of like recapturing of things, or like not wanting to like, again, I'm not saying I want to like be 16 again sitting in like fucking math class, you know, whatever, but it's like I look back on those fond memories and have the thought you have like, yeah, those are good times and it's in the past and blah blah blah, but there's also that like sad part of me that like wants to sort of recapture that in some sense sometimes.
I don't.
Sure, but that to me is personally weird, is what I'm just saying.
Okay. I don't see you. But the thing is, I don't look at you. To me, when you say that you want to like recapture that in some way, I'm like, I don't get that. But to me, to label it as weird is kind of like judgmental.
Well, I'm not judging it. It's just weird from my lens.
No, I understand. I get it. But to me, it's like, but you're not. You don't know how my brain works, and you're not me. So to me, it's like, I get what you're saying. Like, just from your perspective, it's. But to me, I'm saying that I don't understand it, but I don't necessarily think. I feel like saying that it's weird puts a negative connotation on it.
Sure, but I don't mean any negative connotation. It's not like a judgment call or anything. It's purely just like, from my perspective, being as like sentimental and whatever, and thinking about it the way I do, hearing somebody be like, well, I don't long for that at all kind of thing.
It's abnormal.
Is a like, yeah, like it's weird for me to get in that headspace.
From your kind of like reference point, I guess.
Yeah, but it's not like any sort of judgment call or anything. It's like disgusting.
Because to me, it's like, if I had to like, if you were to tell me like gun to your head, like be more critical, I'd be like, yeah, I think it's weird that you want to go back to that time or whatever. But to me, it's like, I don't find myself naturally thinking that, because I just know that people have different perspectives on things like that. So to me, it's like, it's just I look at it as it's different, not as it's weird in a negative kind of you know what I'm saying?
Sure. But so anyways, I don't know. It's just something that was.
I want to hear your perspectives on that too. Like, do you guys ever feel like, are you guys more on my side of like not really feeling like you want to go back there? Or, you know what I'm saying? You kind of like, you have the moved on mentality and like you appreciate it, but you moved on. Or do you ever feel like how Matty feels of like, I wish I could recapture that, and part of me like longs for that sort of thing.
Let's hear from him first, because he was dozing off a little bit.
Also, I will preface it by saying like, obviously there's no right answer, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, wrong, I'm right and he's wrong, and like, oh, he's yeah.
All right.
I guess I kind of see it like wanting to just go back and relive a moment and kind of feel
what
that.
Gummies did you eat? Which gummies did you eat?
There's no edibles in there.
Okay, go on.
For me, I lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry. It
Alright,
just
you
looked
can
like
go
you were
ahead.
in a
You're
different
saying
place.
You
you're
can go.
talking about like living a moment again.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like not wanting to go back and relive it, but it's just to like feel like some of the good moments and some of the good memories that you had with certain people, like wanting to go back and like experience. When Matty said that he wouldn't mind like having lunch with some of these people, I kind of agreed with him. I'm like, I wouldn't mind going back and just having lunch with like all of my friends, because I miss doing that. And when I'm at work, sitting in the lunchroom eating lunch by myself and just kind of feeling depressed, like just kind of brings me back. And I'm like, oh, I remember the good times when I was eating with everybody and we were all laughing and Patrick was spilling half of his Subway sandwich out of his sandwich. And
That's what I'm
Why's
talking
everyone
about, though,
picking on me?
where it's like I am more interested in recapturing like the feel of the past
But
than
that's-
like literally actually the past. Now, don't get me wrong. If a fucking genie came to me and was like, "Hey, Matt, I'll send you back in time for 1 hour just to spend like one lunch hour in high school," I would do that purely out of like a curiosity of like,
yeah, it'd be fun.
yeah, I'll go sit in the cafeteria for an hour and just see.
Oh,
Like,
I
just
would
to go
I would-
back.
I would get a big ass cookie, bro. I would get a big ass $2 cookie, baby.
right
Those
to the
were
cafeteria
so
cookie.
good, bro.
Yeah, like I would like, or if like even if like a day
They make those at UTM.
What,
I
those
saw
They
it.
make those
I saw
big-
it when I was there with you. I
Oh,
saw
yeah,
I saw
you
a
did,
little
yeah,
like
yeah,
I wanted
yeah.
to buy
And it's
one.
exactly the same.
Oh,
It's
I see.
exactly the same as in high school.
But
It's amazing.
what I'm saying is like, yeah, I would spend like if a genie came and was like spend one day in high school, I would go back and do that day more of just a curiosity of like, let me just walk down memory lane again. But I'm more talking about that of like recapping the feel of certain parts of my life as opposed to the literal like being there,
Yeah.
you know, thing
Yeah.
or whatever.
All right.
Patricia, that's
Oh.
it.
Oh, you guys want to hear from me?
Nah.
You don't
If
wanna
you've
hear
got
from me?
nothing to say, that's okay. But I figured.
I mean, it's hard. I feel like I don't miss.
Yeah, you're very close.
I'm too close.
Yeah, yeah.
This is too close.
You're
It's like-
right.
it's
You were
like-
kissing it.
You're
It's
right
like
up
audio
on the mic.
distortion in my ear. A little
Sorry,
bit.
guys.
It's all good.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to be back in high school, but like, I get what you guys are saying with regards to feeling the good moments, where it's like it would be nice to like be back, just for like that like 5-minute period maybe when I was like at my highest in those moments, kind of thing, and just re-experiencing those things. But generally, I have zero interest in going back to that place.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Where it's like I don't look back at it and I'm like, oh, I don't give a fuck. To me, I look back at it like,
It was a
again,
good time.
yeah, it was a good time, and I love that time and whatever. But to
The-
me, it's like I don't like. For example, like Matty was talking about the whole genie thing. It's like, yeah, I'd like to feel that feeling just to see what it was like, you know. But to me,
The
it's
only-
like I don't
yeah.
find myself spending mental energy thinking about, oh, I wish, you know what I'm saying? I just kind of like I accept it, and I'm like, that was awesome. And now I'm in a different place, and like I just live forward. I never like find myself harping on that
The
stuff.
only reason why I would want to go back is
Yeah.
for the youth.
Just
And
to
I
like
know,
feel
I'm,
young
I know I'm
again?
young to give that answer, but like,
You just want to be
I
in
s-
your prime again.
I just want to stay young. Don't make me old, God.
All
I
right.
feel like Joe Each will be on.
Nubile young little thing out there
All right, let's.
running on the pitch.
running on the pitch. Very good.
But yeah, so anyways, we'll wrap it up here. But I don't know. It's something that's been, it rattles around my head from time to time, and it had come up kind of recently. And then a couple days ago, just having that dream I had was like kind of cemented it in my head of like, well, this is going to be.
You're a terrible broken person. That's
Yeah,
okay.
probably. So this will be my topic this week. But yeah, thank you
Yeah.
very much, and fucking blow me.
I want to talk.
Your
Your
mic's
mic's
not
not on.
Oh shit. Go ahead.
What were you saying?
I was making fun of you.
He's like, I want to talk about Goodfellas.
What?
As if he just looked on the poster and was like, that's my topic.
Okay, go ahead, Malcolm. He goes,
Okay, sorry. Go.
I want to talk about.
I thought we would talk about. So John Lennon.
He goes. Let's see.
No, I want to talk about the seasons.
The
Four
season.
seasons.
Wait, the hotel?
Wait, the hotel?
No, I'm just kidding. The Four Seasons hotel. No, like the 4 seasons of the year.
Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Four seasons
What about
of
the
the
4
year.
seasons of the
In
year?
what sense?
I think fall.
Take a guess, Patrick.
Are we ranking them? Are we just breaking them down?
No,
What
we
do
are
do?
going-
Patrick goes, what about the 4 seasons? Like, what do you think he's gonna ask about the 4 seasons? Like, what do you know about them? Like geographic, like
These
like
topics.
it's
weather.
gross.
I think we should add a fifth.
Yeah.
Should we add a 5th?
No.
No.
Okay, go on.
I think fall is the best season.
Interesting. We're
okay.
in fall.
We are in
Currently.
fall. I'm loving it. I love that it's
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
cool. It's cool outside. I like that it's a little bit cloudy and sunny at the same time.
You know what's perfect about how you can demonstrate how good fall is?
How?
I guess comparison between what you're wearing and what I'm wearing. Both valid, both comfortable. For those who don't see, well, I mean, you can do this view.
But if you're listening-
recording, is that
but
If
if you're
you're
recording?
an audio
Spotify.
listener,
Is that recording?
yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Patrick, why don't you describe for all our audio listeners?
For our
out
audio
there?
listeners, Malcolm's wearing shorts and a t-shirt, short sleeves, and I'm wearing long Zara pants and a fancy sweater. I'm obviously much better dressed than
Fancy-
Malcolm is.
This
Fancy's
guy
a
really,
very loose term.
this guy really
Okay.
went like, I'm wearing
I'm
my
dressed
Zara
fancy.
pants and my fancy sweater, and I'm dressed way better. This guy really went for the,
Fucking,
like,
he's so fucking
But-
like
but-
obsessed with himself.
this guy really went
the,
with
the,
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 fuck
the most liberal use of fancy I've ever heard.
Even though I'm like really nicely dressed and I'm comfortable outside, Malcolm's
Come on, man.
Worse.
Really nicely dressed. I'm dressed like a fucking like a king.
the only point I'm trying to make is I'm
Even-
wearing
he go-
layers.
he goes-
He's not wearing
Sure.
layers, and it's both valid, and we're both comfortable.
They
and
both
it's-
work, and I
Even-
feel like fall is the best time for styling,
Mhm.
and
Mm.
I feel comfortable in fall. I have this whenever I think of fall, I kind of get excited when it's like winter, spring, summer, because I think about it's nighttime. It's a little bit like there's like dim street lights out. It's dark, and there's like all these colorful leaves everywhere.
Okay,
it
finally
just-
you got to something that didn't sound like a predator. Go on.
And like
Jesus Christ. It's dark. It's shady.
it's dark.
There's
and
barely
shady.
any people out. I can do whatever I want.
I'm,
Go on.
I'm dressed fancy as shit. I couldn't be dressed more elegant.
And I just got this feeling of comfort thinking about I'm walking through this area and like there's like a little slight cold breeze hitting me, but I got my sweater on. I'm really comfy. I'm not cold. I'm not hot. It's just fall brings me a feeling of comfort, and I want to hear everyone else's opinions on all the seasons, fall specifically, and I want us to rank them. I want us to rank them.
I'm just going to toss out
Yeah,
Malcolm.
I have my hand up,
fall,
though.
easy third. Go on.
Third.
Well,
third.
okay, wait, let's not get
Can
to
I-
ranking right
Can I
away.
jump? I'll jump in.
Yeah, go
Are
ahead.
we ranking them like for our like are we coming to a consensus, or are we individually ranking them?
Individually.
Okay, so
I see. Okay.
so I'll just start.
Should
with
we
my-
rank them last, or should we? What should we do?
How about
here?
this? How about we start with our favorites,
Okay.
Let's do it.
and then we'll go back
Let's
to
go.
Malcolm
We'll
and
go.
Jose.
We'll go like a round of the first,
Okay.
second, third, and last.
Okay.
Alright.
So for me, I think it's also gonna have to be fall. And I
Favorite.
Think, favorite. And I think it's gonna be because I've thought about it more and more recently, and I think Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. And I'm thinking about like
No,
kind of
no.
Just wait,
no.
just
You
wait,
can't
just
you can't just say that and then
Just wait.
expect me to be silent.
no, but I'm gonna connect it.
Go
to
ahead.
me, fall, just like how Christmas is intrinsically tied to winter, I feel like I connect Halloween with fall. Like when I think about when I think about the season, I think about living through Halloween. So anyway, but I'll come back to that later. But to me, I do love the option of like wearing a sweater one day and wearing a t-shirt the next day, wearing jeans one day, wearing shorts the next day. I feel like it's the best time to like get the most use out of my wardrobe. I can try on a bunch of different shoes. I can wear boots one day, and then I can wear like, you know, something like a slip-on one day, like something very light. I just like the versatility of it, like Malcolm was saying. And I also like the colors of the fall. I love the red, orange. I love the kind of, it feels very warm and like inviting and cozy. And then I think a lot about, you know, watching Halloween movies during the fall and stuff like that. I just feel like it's like the most cozy, like fun time. And I also think I like the idea of kind of like that 15 to 20 degrees where it's kind of like one day it could be like nice and warm and you can wear out a t-shirt, and then the next day it's kind of like a little bit chilly. I don't like when it's super hot or it's super cold. So I think it's like a quite the perfect period of time. So
You know what's tragic about fall?
What?
Is that perfect period
Doesn't
of time
last very
only
long.
lasts like maybe
A month, maybe.
Yup.
Yeah.
It'll be over
That's
next
the problem.
This
It'll
is
be over in
why
3
fall
weeks.
is third.
Okay, go with your first.
Summer,
Fuck.
baby. Woo! Summer is my number
Now,
one.
my
But
only,
But summer doesn't last long.
my
at
only
all either.
stipulation with summer is I'm always fucking.
Your only
I'm
stipulation?
always
Sweating. Sweating.
Your only
Sorry.
stipulation with summer?
Mhm.
What are you saying right now?
I'm saying what you're saying. Your only stipulation with summer?
I have more than one stipulation.
No, that's
What
not
does that mean?
That's not what stipulation means.
That's not what
Stipulations like settings. Like if there's a stipulation to something, that means like there's like an asterisk. No.
Yeah. You mean your problem?
Hmm.
My only quarrel with
Your
my-
quarrel,
My
yeah.
quarrel.
Isn't
Quarrel,
he
use
using it right?
Qualm?
I don't think he's
I don't
using
think
a
so.
stipulation is like it's
like a
asterisk,
rule
like you
or,
said, like a rule, like a
condition or
There you go.
requirement.
Oh, I
It doesn't make
see.
sense. My only condition or requirement with fall doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Okay, fine, sure.
Okay, so my only quarrel, or I have a couple.
Guy gets blown on the
Head
news.
guy.
Guy gets blown on the knee.
That's
I
what I had
have
to type
a
up.
couple quarrels with summer.
Mm.
One, I always have swamp ass. Always.
It's too damn hot.
It's too hot.
Do you have swamp pass right now?
A little bit.
Well, it's not because of the weather. It's because of this room.
Matty, what's-
Technically,
Matty,
it's
what's
not.
your-
Technically, it's not fall yet, and it's still summer.
Matty, what's
No.
your rebuttal to that? Like of it just being too hot most of the time.
Here's my thing with summer. I love summer because I think it's the time where like you get to be outdoors and like doing shit and not worried about if it's too cold or blah 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 or any of this shit. I, as somebody who doesn't give a fuck about like dressing up, being able to just run around in like a comfortable shirt and like shorts or whatever,
Correct me if
infinitely
I'm
more
wrong.
preferred.
Sorry, I hate to cut you off.
Here we
I'm
go.
so sorry.
No, you don't. You don't give a shit. You'll do it again in a minute.
Do go on.
Doesn't give a shit.
The first
Correct
time he's
me-
apologized after like 50 interruptions.
correct me if I'm wrong here, but you like to sport the
Spits on himself.
muscle shirt often, don't you?
Not like super often, but sure, wearing like a sleeveless is nice. Being able to sleep like, butt ass naked or in just
Here-
underwear.
No.
I can sleep
Here's
butt ass
another,
naked now.
here's another problem with the summer. I'll sleep butt ass naked and it's still too warm. If
Yeah.
it's like 30 something degrees out, I'm like,
Do you
I'm
still
too
use
hot.
do you still use a blanket?
No. I have a blanket.
So
but
you go blanketless
I go blanket.
butt
I go-
ass
No,
naked.
not butt ass.
and it's still too hot.
You know what the problem is?
I go in summer when it's really hot.
Oh,
I have to go windows open.
Was he
I have
asking
to go-
you? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
An asshole.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna make a clip out of that. I'm gonna zoom in on your
my
face
face?
doing this. You did that. Anyways, go on.
I don't want to continue.
My thing with summer is I just think it's the most, like, it's the time of year where you can just kind of like go out and sort of like make the most of things, and there
What
aren't
does that even mean?
Yeah, so vague.
there
Politicians
aren't
answer.
I
weather
can't-
conditions as opposed to like on the opposite side of winter where
Hey,
it's like
heat
your
stroke.
entire
I
life.
Hey,
can
heat
make the most
stroke.
of things in
Matty,
fall.
what
There are so many ways to avoid and beat the heat, though. This is my thing when people are like, "Oh, summer's too hot." I'm like, "Stay inside an AC place. Go to a pool.
Matty.
Drink ice, like a cold drink or ice cream.
If
Like,
you-
there's so many things you can
Yeah,
do."
but if you have to resort to getting out of the environment, that means that summer there's a problem with summer.
But
You know
that's
what I'm
only
saying?
sometimes. More often than not, it's comfortable enough that you can be like outside, warm, and you're good.
What time of day
you
are
can go
you
to the
referring
beach.
Also, for all those, all of our famous listeners in other countries, we're talking about Canadian seasons. Go on.
Yes. Like I just find summer is I prefer summer the most. I just like that time of year. Whereas like what you guys are saying with fall is like even what you're saying about with the thing of like, well, fall's fleeting kind of thing. It's like, yeah, that's why, spoiler alert, spring is my number 2 because it's like spring is the
Ugh.
same thing.
Spring
No,
is
it's not.
gross.
You're
Spring
close
is
to
the
the same
same
thing.
thing you
Spring is
guys
actually
are
the
talking
worst.
about.
Spring is actually my dead last.
Yeah.
It's my
Wow.
dead last.
Wow, interesting. Why?
Spring is literally, it's like it goes from shitty, stupid winter, which is dead last. It kind of has the middle area where it's basically fall for a
No.
little bit. And
No,
then
not.
you have a light at the end of the tunnel of like, oh, warmth and like
You know
the
what?
summer, as opposed to
I'm
fall where
curious-
it's like the fucking end of the tunnel
Okay, wait.
is just winter.
I'm curious to see, but here's the thing though. I feel like it's not. I feel like we should pull them out of context and just like analyze them for what they are. Not like, oh, I don't like fall partly because it means winter's coming soon. You know what I'm saying? It's like just
Okay,
analyze
you know
fall.
what? I want to finish the rankings of everybody instead of going around
Can
and
you
then
say-
picking a piece out of
Sure.
each person's
Okay, how
thing.
about this?
Let's go all rankings, and then we're gonna shit on all of them.
Full ranking. Go full ranking, like bottom to
Okay,
top.
my bottom to top.
Yeah.
Bottom spring.
Yeah.
That I can't pick a third or a second because I think I like summer and winter just as much.
Wow.
As the same as each other,
Interesting.
and so I'm just gonna tie them there, and then
So you
fall
have
is
a
number
list
one.
of 3.
Hmm?
You have a list of 3. You have 1,
1,
2 is
tied, and then
Okay,
fall.
I'll go next. I have I'm curious to see actually what you guys are saying about spring.
Spring's last for me.
But
Can't wait to say it.
I'm curious to hear why, and it may change my mind because I'm like I don't feel anything at this moment, but maybe
Yeah.
it'll change my mind. But to me, dead last is winter. Although I like some aspects of winter, like I like the way the snow looks. I'm a big fan of Christmas. Again, I'm tying it to the holiday.
You like
To
the
me-
way the sort of moonlight twinkles in her eye?
In her eye, sure. Specifically in her eye.
Do you like shoveling snow off your driveway at 6 a.m. when you're freezing your cock and balls off?
That's
Do you
why-
like that?
That's why it's last.
Dick and balls.
That's why it's last because to me, I feel like actually you could do more when you're outside. You can do more to deal with the cold than you can to deal with the heat outside. If you're inside, then obviously it's easier. But to me, it's like if it's cold as shit, you wear like a super nice, super warm jacket.
Stylish.
Sure.
Yeah, but see,
here-
I disagree with that because here's my thing.
It's still-
As
it's-
Wait,
the
we have to
coldest-
get through the rankings
the
first.
coldest you've ever been though, even when you put on like a jacket
Yeah.
and that fucking toque and gloves and everything, there's like it's still cold.
Order.
I wouldn't
Wait,
say
wait,
that.
wait, wait a minute.
Order.
I don't
Wouldn't
think
say
you're.
that.
I don't. Here's the thing.
Order in the court.
If I was younger, I'd agree with you. But these past few winters, my brother got me like he works at like a designer store. I won't say which, but it doesn't
Michael
matter.
Kors.
Yes, he does. I don't know why I left that out like it was top secret, but so the point is, I feel he got me like a jacket, a winter jacket that's like super warm, like it has
Sure.
real fur on the like it's like I wore that shit and it has like a double zipper. I wore that shit and even when it was like -10 out, I can't feel any cold. I don't feel cold at all on my body.
Yeah, but like your face is cold, like unless you're
The
like
face is-
fully wrapped
The
up.
face is unavoidable unless you're going full on like
Yeah.
ninja style. But
yeah,
to me-
exactly.
Mark, can we get your final
Yeah, yeah.
ranking?
So I'm gonna go again before I hear what you guys have to say about spring. I'm gonna go winter last. Then I'm gonna go summer, third.
Insane.
Fuck is wrong?
No, I'm sorry. Wait. I'm sorry. Spring,
Yeah.
then summer, then
fall.
fall.
Okay.
So to me, fall's my favorite. Summer's my second favorite. Although again, it's annoying as shit when it's too hot out. And then spring to me is kind of like whatever. I don't really feel any
Where
sort
did
of
you
way
have
about
summer?
spring.
I had summer tied with winter in the middle.
Second.
Okay.
I have summer second.
Yeah,
let's hear
good.
it.
We'll get back to that. For me, it would be winter at the bottom.
Good. We'll go back to that.
I think I'm kind of with Malcolm where right now, to me, my 2 and 3 of spring being second and fall being third, those to me could switch on any given day. So I would maybe kind of like tie them in like the second seed, sort of like Malcolm did with summer and winter. So my list would probably go like winter, fall and spring sort of mixed together, and then like summer
Okay.
at the top.
Here's the correct list now.
Here we go.
Is it different?
you
From,
guys-
is it different from everyone else?
I mean, you guys tried to do what was right, but you didn't
No, but I'm
quite
saying,
get
is
there.
it actually different?
Well, do you want me to say it or?
Tell me if it's different first. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So it goes like this. Spring is last.
Mhm.
Spring is last.
Spring is
Okay.
last. Summer is third.
Wow.
Fall is second.
Winter is
And
first.
winter is
There's
first.
no.
Wow.
You're saying
That is-
winter.
That
You're
is the
such a scumbag.
that is the
you're
correct
dirt.
list.
No, because you're saying winter because like I like snowboarding and like skating's fun and all that shit.
Honestly,
Think of all the
I
shit you
love
have to deal with.
hockey.
honestly,
Freezing your toes off
quite
and then
frank,
having them
I
be
was just
pink and
saying that as a
blue.
joke.
Oh,
I
I see.
don't think
my
What's
God.
your real list?
my real list would be spring definitely last. That wasn't a joke.
Okay.
And then it would probably be summer, winter, fall.
Summer,
winter,
summer's a
fall.
summer.
Summer third.
Summer third, winter.
Winter
second.
You like the winter season better than the.
I think that I do.
You know what I hate?
I think that I do, but it's not bad. It's not top tier though.
I hate the fact that. Okay, let's start breaking down why we hate each one. Like to me, winter's last for me because
Spring is last for all of us. No.
I'm
No.
winter's last.
Oh.
Winter's last. Winter's last.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
what's wrong with what's good about spring? What the heck?
Well, to me, spring is like whatever. I don't feel any particular way about it. It's fine. But to me, I have more negative feelings about winter than I do about spring. To me, winter, it's like now that I drive, I have to fucking get the winter tires on there.
Mm-hmm.
I have to every time there's like a huge snowstorm, I gotta get out there and shovel as well.
Mm-hmm.
My face is my nose is like frostbitten and shit, and like
Preach.
and sometimes I'd walk around and sometimes it would be so cold, and then like ice forms around my eyebrows and
Or
shit.
when you're fucking breathing, you can
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
the fucking snot in your nose,
Yeah.
like freezing.
Just the feeling of getting in the
Why are
car,
you guys making it seem like we live in none of it?
dude. Just
Sometimes it feels like that.
just the feeling of getting in the car in the morning. You just want to like.
oh,
you just
you're
wanna press
freezing.
my
something.
God.
And you turn it up all the way, the heat, and you turn on the
Cold.
heat. And you go,
Honestly,
please warm up.
I've been vicariously living everything you're saying, and winter is now third for me.
Thank you.
Wow.
Summer is second.
Thank
Because
you.
honestly,
It's
you've
so-
elicited such strong.
This is what I'm
emotions in
saying.
me.
You just want to like. You just want to
Winter
hit something.
sucks.
It's so cold.
Or you get out and then like not only do you have to like shovel the driveway, but your car's like caked in ice.
Yeah.
You're like standing out there
Oh
like
my
scraping
god!
it off.
Scraping
That's
the
garbage.
fucking.
Oh
thing.
my
That's
god.
garbage. And what you said about getting in your car. Has anyone mentioned getting in the car?
Yeah, in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then
Waiting
you
I
for
hate
it to
that.
actually
I
work.
hate that.
Or waking
Yeah.
up in the morning and it's just like fucking like.
Yeah.
Also, to me, it's like the actual amount of time it takes to like put everything on and take everything off.
All
Like,
right, come on.
It takes longer to me. No, seriously.
He's making
No,
sense.
to me it takes longer to.
we're gonna
To me,
have
it takes longer to put an undershirt on. I wear like an undershirt and then
Yeah.
maybe like a sweater and then my jacket and then the
And then
boots and then
boots
the
and
gloves
fucking-
or whatever.
yeah, it's a whole
too
thing.
much. It's too much to ask.
Summer, spring, t-shirt, shorts, and you're out the door.
Although, just to play devil's advocate, winter does present opportunities for young lads to make money. Malcolm and I, we would go around shoveling. What are you doing right now?
Pass out.
What the fuck was that? Yo, is that gonna roll it?
Yes.
I want that shot. Look.
I just want like this. I want like this.
Let me be clear.
Let me be clear.
Oops.
It's not rolling.
Oh my
it not
god!
rolling?
You're the one responsible.
It was on. It was on. It was on and it stopped.
Oh, maybe
Why
there's
did
an
it
issue.
stop?
Maybe there's an issue with your
Maybe
phone.
there's an issue with my phone.
That's okay. We've got the main camera. That's all that matters. But anyways, as Barack Obama once said, let me be clear.
So I didn't get that shot. Fuck you.
You got him in the wide. I don't hate any of the seasons.
You don't hate winter?
Come on.
Even though winter's last, I don't hate winter. What it is it's just the one I have the most problems with.
Sure.
Spring, I don't really have a single problem with, and it's
Not a
positives.
single.
How
No.
does it dead last? How does it dead last for you?
Let's get
guys?
into
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
Let's get into dead
Spring.
last.
Please, I need to know right now.
Spring is
Okay,
such okay, you go first. Sorry.
I hate spring because, okay, so first of all, I don't hate winter. I like the way winter looks. I might hate the cold, but what I hate even more is when it reaches springtime, and all I want is that hot weather, and it's consistently.
It's a tease.
Dude, basically,
That's what it is.
Oh, are you serious?
It's a
no, no,
tease.
no, it's
So
not.
how
Hey,
can
it's
you
not
like
just that.
fall
It's
then?
not just that. Because
he hates the hope of warmth.
Because-
he wants. But basically, what you're saying is, I hate spring because I'm impatient.
I wasn't done.
You're the one who said let's look
I literally
at the
wasn't
season
done.
itself and not what it's.
That's what I'm
looking
saying.
forward
I'm
to
saying.
it.
I'm saying isolate it out and be like,
Isolate it out. It's a tease.
No, but
I
he-
want to be warm.
no. He's saying he doesn't like it because it's in between the summer.
Okay.
That
Forget
was
about what this
that was literally
idiot's
one
saying.
reason.
I'll tell you
that
what
was
I'm
one
saying.
reason.
He's
That was one
comparing.
reason I wasn't even close to done.
Okay.
Hey,
Go.
Matty's
Well,
going on.
to what Matty was saying, yeah, I guess it's kind of the same thing as fall. But when it's fall, the heat is done with. I'm ready to move on. Fall's a perfect way. Like I love the fall weather, but spring weather isn't the same as fall weather. It's wet. It's slushy.
That's
it's
true.
gross. Everywhere is gross,
that to
and I
me is
hate
like-
the way it looks. Everything is brown.
Sure.
The trees aren't nice
Pretty- it's
colors.
pretty drab.
I go outside and it's depressing. And
But that's
I go,
because
I don't want
you're
to be
thinking
here.
about the beginning of spring coming out of winter. Yes, but as spring approaches summer, it's getting warmer. The days are getting longer. It's not like fall when the time changes. It's like, hey, do you like when it's dark out at 5 o'clock? Like that shit's so
That
depressing.
doesn't happen in the fall, does it? That's one more winter, isn't it? 5. I feel like fall's more like 7.
It's getting there.
It gets,
Getting
but it's
there.
yeah,
I mean,
even
currently
like
it's getting there.
yeah, like
What time does it
you
get
can
dark
already
Not
tell.
really. It's like 8:30. It gets dark here.
But you can already see it where it's like the days get shorter, and it's like that is a depressing thing about fall and then winter to me. Whereas spring, it is the thing of like the days are getting longer, the weather's getting warmer. Like that's a good thing.
Here's another thing for spring: allergies. I can't breathe.
Okay,
at
sure.
all.
Yeah, but I have allergies in the spring and the summer, and summer's still my number one. So I'm willing to
You know what
put that
I've seen?
aside.
I've seen a lot of memes recently. It's interesting that you bring this topic up because I saw a bunch of memes being like, "Oh, when fall comes around, and like the air is crisper and you can wear a sweater." It was like-
Yep.
I heard some. I've heard a lot of people talking about how they like breathing that fall air the most.
Yes,
It's
and
Fall
again,
air, it exists.
don't get me wrong. I like fall. It's a easy third, potential like tied in kind of second with spring. And
Easy
again,
It
third.
doesn't sound like you like
Third
it.
I
out of
don't-
4, you fool.
but I don't hate
Second
any of them
last.
again.
Patrick, I
Well,
wanna-
almost dead last.
Patrick, I want
I
to
don't
hear your
hate
spring hate.
I'm like, if you were to ask me, I'm just gonna echo everything you just said. That
You like when the
It's-
days get longer, or you hate when the days get longer?
I echo what he. Funny how I looked at him and said, "Echo what you just
Mhm,
said."
but you're saying you don't like fall, and I'm bringing up good things of fall so that you can acknowledge them.
you don't
Fall,
know what
fall's
season you're
different.
talking
Fall,
about
the
right
days
now.
might be getting.
What the fuck am
I
I
was so
talking?
conf- I was so confused.
What the fuck am I talking about? Holy
I
shit!
was like, I'm stupid. I got lost. I
Please,
don't know what's happening.
ignore me and go on.
listen.
Honestly, I think. Sorry to interrupt you. Just one thing. something that Mark did mention that I didn't even think to bring up about fall being number one is fall crisp air exists. It exists, and it's a beautiful thing.
Sure.
It does.
I don't even.
Spring crisp air doesn't exist.
To me, it's like I think that each season has a con. There's no perfect season, you know. To me,
Fall's
like
perfect.
To me, the problem with fall, even though my fall's my number one, because we're in Canada, the large tail end, which it has a large tail end of fall is like very chilly and cold. I don't like when it becomes chilly. To me, it's like I like that beginning to mid fall, and that first 2/3 of fall is enough to make it my favorite. But that last third can be sometimes annoying.
Here's what's interesting. I think so, Matthew. You basically with what you're saying, I think it's fair to assume that you would want to live in California for the rest of your life.
Like perfect 20-something degree weather.
Depends. Well, it's like I talked about on my vacation, where it's like LA was too
Los
fucking
Angeles.
hot. No, LA was a desert. Like that place.
So
sucks.
if you want weather like San Fran or
San Diego was the perfect weather.
If you want that weather, which is like the teens,
San Diego was like 22, 23, like warm.
Can you
You're
tell me?
still comfortable, but it's not LA where it's like 34.
Can someone tell me? Here's my perfect climate, right? It's like at the coldest point of the whole year, we're talking like 15, and then at the warmest point, we're talking like 25 to 30.
More like
hell
a
are you
San.
saying?
More like a San
What
Fran.
the hell are
10
you
degrees
saying?
What do you mean?
The coldest point is 15?
I'm saying the coldest point gets like 10 to 15, where you can just wear a
In
sweater or
Canada?
something. No, you idiot.
He asked where.
He's just saying that's where somewhere he'd
I'm
like
saying
to
tell
live.
me. I'm saying tell me where this place exists. Not fucking listening.
Jesus.
I'm saying what place exists that goes down to like 10 to 15 at the coldest, where you can wear a sweater or whatever, and it's fine. And then at the highest point, you could go out in a short sleeve and t-shirt, and it's not too hot. It's like 25.
I think it's like San Francisco, if
That's
I'm
what I
not
was saying.
mistaken.
Again-
But the problem with San Francisco is that it's like constantly raining there.
Maybe like the
I don't-
Carolinas. Carolinas, maybe.
The Carolinas?
I think Seattle's in that.
Hickville?
Seattle's
Is
a
that
lot of rain.
Sure,
though.
like Oregon,
Not really.
Seattle.
Oh, a little bit,
Seattle's
maybe.
kind of in that,
My bad, Carolinas.
like it's kind of like a permanent spring almost in that kind of.
I just-
God, imagine being stuck in a permanent spring.
Dude, to me, it's like I kind of wish Canada was like truncated in its temperature ranges. I wish it was
Same
like,
way USA is.
yeah. I wish it was
we
like
literally experience everything here.
I know. I wish it was like 25 tops, 10 minimum or something. I don't like how it's like -20 and 30 to 40. It's like, what the hell's happening?
But here's the thing, though: we've definitely lost seasons in
What?
Canada
No,
as
say
time
that.
has gone on.
What are you talking about?
What if he got
I
shot
mean, the
as soon as he
winters
said that?
haven't been as wintry.
No, our spring and fall are not the springs and falls that we grew up with.
Why?
Like now it's at a point where it's like it's basically summer and it's like warm, and then it like just drops off a cliff. Maybe there's like a little 2-week little
We're
like
literally in the buffer period right now.
sure. There's like a couple week like buffer period and then it's boom.
I
fucking
feel-
that's what
I
it
feel
is,
like-
though.
I
2
feel-
degrees.
That's
I
what
feel
it
like
is.
I feel like nostalgia's playing a part here though, because like when you were a kid, you probably wouldn't have noticed like
When you're a kid, you
oh,
don't know
that
shit.
switch up was interesting. Like you know what I'm saying? Like as a kid, you're probably just like oh whatever. Mom told me to put on a jacket today.
Mother Nature, you pulled one on me
Yeah,
this
yeah.
time.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is like there were definitely times I remember like the spring being like a period of like 3 months
Now
or some
is that
shit like
because-
that, and
but
the
you
fall
now is
being
that
like,
because you were a youthful, idiotic
Could
kid?
it be misremembering? Is what I'm saying.
maybe, but I'm not talking. But I'm not even talking. I'm not talking about when I was like 6. I'm talking about when I was like 13, 14.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Okay,
Like,
again,
not-
my
like-
answer, my question stands.
Sure. No, I'm telling you, I can remember a time where there was a more drawn out spring and fall, whereas now it's
Okay.
like
Let's-
summer.
let's consult the data.
Little buffer.
I don't think
winter,
anyone here is on the same
little
page as
buffer,
you.
Summer.
Let's consult the numbers.
Sure.
Pull up the.
I'm not pulling up fuck all right
Pull
now.
up the meteorologist.
No, I don't have the time or
Pull
patience.
up that news anchor getting blown. Let's see what he has to say.
Fuck.
But am I not? Do I not have a point in saying that our winters are not as wintry? They haven't been as wintry
I
for at
think
least the
you're
past
right.
2 winters.
This past one
Usually
hasn't been
when
as,
We couldn't go ice skating on a pond once
No,
last winter.
we couldn't.
Sure.
Fuck. That
Because-
makes me so
because-
angry.
Because it was literally dangerous. We would have fallen in.
I think
Yeah.
you know what? There was one day the entire winter. I remember the ice rink by my house in the park being frozen and someone actually playing on it. The next day melted.
Damn.
But
Wild.
I guess that's to my point of what I'm saying. It's like things have changed
They
over
have,
time.
but not
like,
the way you're saying. The way I'm saying.
okay, sure, yeah. Well, I'll just go fuck myself. There are differences, and yes, what you're saying too of like even though winters are like different now, or even summers, where like our summers are hotter
They're
now
pretty hot now.
than they were.
I
Kind
think
of
they were
thing.
pretty
We
hot
didn't.
before.
We never went cliff jumping at Guelph.
Thank God.
Oh yeah, you're such a piece of shit, bro. Sorry, that was a side tangent. I'm so sorry.
Just go at Wonderland.
Cliff
It's
jumping?
it's way they have a cliff jump there, but
Not that
it's
you can do.
Okay,
What are you talking about?
What are you talking
Let's get
about?
back on track here. I want to just throw out one more. I want to throw out a question, and then we can end on that if you guys
Sure.
are cool with it.
I mean, it's his topic. You have to ask.
Sure, whatever you'd like. So to me,
Does it any?
the last question the question I want to ask is, what's worse, being in extreme heat or being in extreme cold? Like when it comes down to it, if you had to pick to live permanently, I mean permanently for the rest of your life, you have to live in -20, or you have to live in literally like 45.
-20.
Heat.
I think it would have to be.
You take like the 45 heat.
I'm taking the heat.
Damn.
I think I would go with the.
I'm going with heat.
I'm going with the cold for two reasons. One, because we can have our houses heated and it's not a big
Just
thing.
point your mic
Mhm.
towards your face a little bit more. Like point it.
Like this?
Yeah.
So we can have our houses heated and it's not a whole thing.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's more effective things you can do to address the cold than the
Exactly.
Such as?
But
like wear a jacket,
Extra layers,
a hat,
whatever.
extra layers. Whereas
You're still going to be cold.
whereas there's in the
Not-
extreme heat, no, you won't still
No,
be
Matty.
cold to the same. You're not going to be cold in the same way. Let me get this out.
Sure.
You're not going to be cold in the same way that you're going to be
hot,
hot,
exactly.
and extreme hot. You could be wearing in what he's describing. You could be wearing a muscle shirt and still sweating your balls off, bro. Uncomfortable.
Even that being said, I'm still picking hot because to me, I'm more of an indoor person, and I don't like most of my life is going to be spent working.
So then it doesn't matter.
No,
if you
but-
pick hot or cold.
No, but to me, it does matter because to me, the impact of -20 weather, like, I feel like to me, for some reason, when it's hot out and air conditioned in, it's more comfortable to be inside. Whereas if it's freezing cold out and like cold in, but you have like the heat going on, I feel like it doesn't feel as comfortable for some reason naturally. for me.
Agreed. Plus, to me, it's just like you can still live your life and go about things in the heat. In the cold, you are not fucking doing that.
You can. Why?
Also,
Like
I feel like
what?
the cold. I
You're
feel like
a
the cold.
Canadian man living in winter. What do you mean you can't go about your life in the cold?
If you were in a
Matty goes into
permanently-
hibernation.
If you were in a permanently cold
Yeah.
place that you were living in, the way you go out and live your life is different, and in my opinion,
You know-
worse
you know what I
off
feel
than
like?
somebody in a hot
You know what I
climate.
feel like?
Inferior? It's inferior.
No, it's worse off
you know what I
than
feel like?
somebody in a hotter climate.
Okay.
I feel like when you go out and when it's warm out, if it's super hot out, I feel like there's still a feeling of like looseness about
Yes.
it. When you go out
Honestly?
in the cold, it's like you're kind of like
Yeah,
rigid.
it's like
and
I
you're,
don't
like,
want to be out here. I'm fucking
tense.
bundled
You're
up.
tense.
Like
let it, and I'm being 150%
Let it be.
right now.
Mhm.
Look at my lips. Hear
Mhm.
these words. Let it not be said that I cannot admit when I'm wrong. I'm joining your side.
thank
Summer.
you.
My
Because
hands are
here's what I'm
sweaty,
saying,
sorry.
Patrick.
Fine.
Think about in the winter. Imagine I said to you in the winter, in like a fucking snowstorm, "Hey, Patrick, I'm on the other side of town,
Come over.
and I need you to like pick me up. My fucking car broke down."
Mm-hmm.
Patrick goes,
In a
"Fuck you, it's
snowstorm
cold outside."
in -20. Now think about that same scenario where I'm like, "Hey Patrick, it's 35 degrees out right now. My car broke down on the other side of town. Can you come get me?"
Yeah.
What scenario
It's-
do you want to go out into
honestly-
least?
Honestly, we are warm-blooded creatures, and it's just inherently more comfortable for
It
us to
is,
be in
'cause
warm.
to me it's like-
even if it's like to its extreme a little bit,
Yeah.
it will. I think you're right.
You
We'll
know,
take that over like extreme cold.
like I was thinking as well, like at some point I'm seriously considering like going to Dubai and like teaching there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's
You
like
should do it, man.
it's so insanely hot there. But to me, it's like I think about it like I'm not just gonna be chilling out for a while. To me, it's like I have a cold air conditioned car, I have a cold air conditioned apartment, I have a cold air conditioned working space, and when I go out, I don't have to be out there for a long time.
I'd like you to
You
go
know?
to Dubai for a selfish reason, so I have a place to stay if
Bro,
I ever want to go to Dubai.
I'm
I thought you were gonna say I want you to go to Dubai and never come back.
That too. Don't come
Yeah.
back, but let me go there. Kind of
I'll
thing.
talk. I want to mention something about it to you afterwards. But
Okay,
anyway,
sure.
Are you satisfied, Mel?
I'm
With the
satisfied.
seasons
Yay.
So fun conversation.
stirring this debate. Well, that has been another episode of Wildly Adequate. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies. Gentlemen, let's go around the horn here before we leave. Does
Can
anybody
you-
have anything they want
Can you cut to KMC?
to KMC? Yes, I can.
Hey. Actually, never mind. Cut away from
Okay,
KMC.
we're cutting away from KMC. Is anybody else, because apparently Patrick has nothing, anybody else got anything they want to get off their chests
No.
before we wrap up here?
I'm hungry.
Mark's hungry.
I'm a
Rob's
little
got
bit. I'm a
nothing.
little bit hungry.
Patrick's got
Honestly, I'm hopeful.
something. 4?
It's beautiful. It's life.
I'm hopeful for life. I'm hopeful for
The future.
the future. I think I'm just excited. It's an exciting time. of year.
What if you got shot through the window?
Honestly, it's an exciting time of year.
Mm.
Fall brings with it
Death
a
and decay.
rebirth.
Oh.
To almost. That's not true. Spring is what gives rebirth.
I was about to say, like, what do you mean
Fall brings
with
death.
rebirth?
Fall brings death, and all the creatures fly away.
Fall does bring decay and death.
Fall brings
But still, you know what?
rebirth.
It's a change of pace, and I'm excited for it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like when the season's like, I feel like there's a feeling of like resetting. You're just like I feel like even though we hate winter, when it comes back around to winter, it's like, oh, I haven't experienced this in a while. Like it's just a change of
time.
pace. You know?
I'm
Yeah, it's time for it.
We're also gonna go to Mont Tremblant, and it's gonna be a whole thing. But yeah.
Before we cut out, something that's been on my mind lately
Here we
is
go.
I've been seeing. I'm like, hey, why is Kim Jong Un visiting Russia? And
Oh.
why is Putin now going to visit North Korea? What's going on?
Yeah,
there?
that whole shit show.
Let's see what's going
I did
on.
not hear about
They
any
had
of
like a
this.
whole like press conference and like a meeting where it's like there's like standing there shaking hands. I'm like, that's
All
Yeah.
right. I take
That's-
back everything I
Matty,
said. I'm gonna
edit-
get ready to get.
edit in a nuke coming.
Yeah.
like a green screen like missile hitting.
Yeah.
That's
I
that's one
wouldn't
of those
be
things.
I wouldn't be totally opposed if we were all in the same unit and still allowed to film once a week.
The same
our thing.
unit?
Like army unit
Oh,
for like
Like
World
what?
War-
We're on
for
the
World War
we're on the
III.
front lines under a trench where it's all covered in dirt, and
We
all
get
all
doing
I'm
a
saying
podcast?
is as long as we're in the same spot and we can keep doing our thing, like I'm not totally opposed to this.
yeah,
Don't
that'll
poke
be
your head
great.
out.
We're just sitting in some fucking trench, and then it's like, yeah. So, anyways, guys, fucking the other day at my tent, like the fucking military ration they gave me was shit. Oh, hold on a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking
I was about to say. Oh shit.
Or one lands
So-
at our feet. It's like, oh fuck.
So guys, Patrick's absent today because they had to tear his limb off.
Oh my god! The medic had to amputate his
you
leg.
You come back the next time, and you just look terrible.
All I imagine is Patrick,
Patrick-
like Patrick gets like shot before we start filming, and he's like sitting there,
Yeah.
and we're like, "Are you gonna be okay?" Dude, he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And just slowly over the course of the episode, like by the time the episode
Yeah,
ends,
yeah.
he's just like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
slumped over.
Dude, I want-
he just bled out.
I want him to be like on a stretcher or like on a bed, and then he looks at the end of the episode. He looks like in The Walking Dead when someone gets bitten, but they don't tell anybody. Like he's kind of like he's just pale, and he's kind of like out of it a little bit.
Now blink your eyes. Imagine it's a few months in the future and we're actually living this war. How bad are you guys gonna feel?
Pretty bad.
I'll just look back on him and be like, hey,
Hey, that guy used to know.
Remember that time we made that joke?
I really made that joke.
Anyways,
yeah, the world's a scary place, but we're hopeful.
We're hopeful we're in
spite of
Canada.
it. We're in Canada.
Honestly, you saying that makes me think about the final scene of Oppenheimer. I think it's been.
I don't
I didn't
know.
see
I
it.
haven't
seen it.
Oh, none of you guys have
No.
seen
I like to
it.
go. On
I was
fresh.
about to
No.
go off.
No.
Oh, good thing. Just shut up.
Okay.
How was that?
Alright.
Wait, how was the Florence Pugh sex scene?
It was pretty good.
Hell yes.
It was pretty good.
How are Cillian Murphy's balls?
Honestly, Barbenheimer was not good.
You
Oppenheimer.
already said that.
So Barbenheimer isn't a movie, right? But anyway,
Barbenheimer is in the culmination of those two movies.
they have nothing to do with each other. There's no connection.
fact that
I'm
they were
just
released
trying
on
to
the same
say.
day.
I'm just trying to say both movies are bad.
Okay, say that.
How do you not get
say that? Don't combine the words like
Listen,
that for no
I'm
reason.
trying to be a hip youngin. What do you want
what's
from me?
what's the point of combining the words?
I'm trying to be hip, bro. That's what's in the media.
All right,
so
all
you're-
right,
so you're-
all right.
Hashtag
you're-
Barbenheimer.
So you're a fool. You're just trying to be hip.
Listen, the first half of
Not
Oppenheimer.
Mr. Nuffus.
The first half of. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Everyone's turning off their mics and they're leaving.